is trying to make this a direct campus. He has been ever since he got elected, which was my last year before I dropped out. And I remember like when he first got elected, it was one of his like first meetings, like all the seniors. You're trying to do what? Are you gone after this semester? Like, I don't know if you remember, but like when I first started moving here, 107 is what it is.
Yeah,
Now,
I wish it was.
107 just sucks. Like,
I so wish it was. I live on Front Street.
yeah. I was at your guys' house the other night for Josh Kaufman's birthday.
Oh, were you?
Yeah. I was the guy who was standing out front of the porch.
Oh, I could not see who that was. I was. I just was like, who the hell? Like, this is chilling. Like,
Well, Josh was like, hey, come over. And like, I was like, how many people are there?
no.
Yeah.
No.
And I got there.
Came up with the idea to throw the party at like 3 o'clock on the Monday. I'm like, what's that?
Yeah.
I just wanted to take him to the bars. Oh, we got him.
You see, I could hear him from outside.
Oh my god. I gave him, he never drinks before. Yeah. And I had made him shotgun a beer at midnight. I don't know, it was pretty much the whole day, so I made him shotgun a beer.
Yeah.
Gave him 2 shots of grape juice. That's all I had left. And then my other roommate gave him like 2 shots of brandy, 2 shots of Crown. Wow! Like, oh, we were getting this. He threw up the entire time. I was so proud.
Yeah, that's right. You just gotta smile at it. Oh, that's so cool.
So I'm good for drinking.
Okay, cool. Alright. All good? Catch my breath. You been starting this early?
Coming to you live from George Finnie Stadium on the campus of Baldwin Wallace University, it is homecoming afternoon and a magnificent, beautiful day at that for the Yellow Jackets to take the football field against the Wilmington Quakers. Week 5 of the Ohio Athletic Conference. Both teams entered the day 2-2. Wilmington may be a little bit of a surprise with 2 wins already this year. They have not won more than 1 game in a season since 2008, so it's already been a good year for the Quakers. Yellow Jackets coming off a nice win over the Marietta Pioneers. They have the OAC's reigning Offensive Player of the Week in Jake Hudson. He threw 5 touchdown passes last week in a dominant 52-24 win over Marietta. I'm Brendan Gulick alongside Josh Rendiro. Glad to have you on board for what the Yellow Jackets are certainly hoping will be another good week, but you can't take anybody lightly, and the fact is this is a better Wilmington team than they've been in some time.
Oh, sure, and for BW, this is a great opportunity for them in back-to-back weeks. Start a little bit stronger than they have early in the season, particularly offensively. We're looking for Jake Hudson and that offensive line that played a very good game last week to continue it, have him sit in the pocket, drive off that back leg, and make the great throws that he has.
Yeah, Hudson's offensive line was easily the biggest reason why he could get in some rhythm last week. Sure, he had some guys make plays around him, but the offensive line definitely deserves the credit for playing well. Looking forward to this week, again, Wilmington is a better team than they've been, and I think a lot of it has to do with what Luke Credit has done at quarterback. He's definitely provided the leadership they need to grow.
And in addition to that, with starting receiver P.J. Meyer and in the backfield Eric Flynn Jr., they have some weapons that they can go to, some big play abilities. This is going to be a good test for BW's defense, and particularly the front seven, to get pressure on Credit, contain this running game, and also for the secondary to keep these receivers in front of them, keep the ball in front of them, and allow no big plays.
P.J. Meyer's averaging 88 yards per game, and he's got 5 touchdowns on the year. Right now, one of the top 10 receivers in the league, and usually Wilmington's biggest problem has been moving the football. Not here in 2017. They are definitely doing a better job as an offense, as a group. So it's been good to see. We'll step aside for just a moment because we'd like to visit with head coach Jim Hilbert before the game. And here is an excerpt from our interview here earlier this week. Pre-game coverage today begins with a conversation with head coach Jim Hilbert before the Quakers come to town with Wilmington here for the first time in 2 years. Coach, you had one of your best offensive days, not just in your time here, but in recent memory at the school. You moved the ball incredibly effectively, big plays over the top. Jake Hudson won the OAC Player of the Week award offensively. I mean, it really was a banner day. What did that do for the morale of the team?
I think it helped with confidence. We needed, and I said this before last week, to be able to get some confidence for our team. I think it definitely, you could tell as the game went on, we kept getting more and more confident in our team, offensively and defensively, special teams. And we started clicking on all cylinders. And I think a key play of the game and for us is when Sam Groff recovered the onside kick. We got a short field right before half. We went down and scored and went up 17-10. And after that, we never looked back. I think defense set the tempo early in the half, got the ball to our offense. I believe we had three opportunities inside the 50 with Kyle Kelly making a cause fumble, got the ball in short field, shanked the punt, stopped him again on defense, got the ball right around the 50-yard line, went down and scored it, and after that it was over with. And like I said, did some good things. Obviously, as me, I'm kind of greedy at the end. I thought we let up 2 cheap touchdowns, but overall I thought we did some really good things. And we got to build on that. I told the kids this is one block we put in place. Now we got to build on another one. Wilmington, Coach Moore's done a great job in Wilmington. They've won 2 games. And we got to be ready to play. We got to have a business-like attitude. It's homecoming. We can't get caught up in the noise. We got to be focused, and we got to be out ready to play right off the bat.
Yeah, for casual D3 football fans, I mean, Wilmington has kind of been the armpit of D3 for a while. The program's been in a really bad spot, and they had either been winless or won only one game basically since 2008. And for them to go out and win 2 of their first 3 games, but more than just win, move the football effectively. I know you used to coach at Thomas More, so you're certainly familiar with the area down there. Safe to say this probably isn't the same Wilmington team we're used to seeing.
Oh, not at all. First of all, like I said before, Coach Moore, they're very well coached. They do a great job. Offensively, they have a good scheme. Their quarterback makes plays with his feet, causes defense problems, is able to run around, make plays. And that's number 13, Luke Credit, does a really good job. I mean, he's able to find receivers that are out there. Their top 2 receivers are A.J. Hightower and P.J. Meyer. They, like I said, do a great job. And then we have his brother, too, Matt Credit's brother, that they look at. And their 2 running backs, I believe one of them's from this area, Gino Hinton and Eric Flynn. They're 2 running backs. We got to make sure we stop the run, and we got to make sure we keep the quarterback in the pocket. We get opportunities to tackle. We're going to get our chest on him. We got to make sure we do that.
One of the things I think that really played to your advantage last weekend, and I see it again, the same kind of thing maybe this upcoming weekend, is the special teams game. Marietta had a very difficult time punting the football, kicking the football. It just was not a strong suit for them. They couldn't flip field position. And I think it's no secret, Wilmington, for the most part, still struggling in that area. How much time do you spend during the week focusing on special teams when you think it could be such an important part of the game like this week?
Oh, I believe like yesterday we spent a half an hour on it just alone. I mean, that's just yesterday. And Coach Nemeth does a great job with our special teams. I thought our kickoff team last week did an unbelievable job setting the tone, keeping the ball inside the 25-yard line with Jimmy Marshall with touchbacks and also our guys going down there with Rob Adroya, Troy Colucci. Those guys did an unbelievable job flying down and making tackles. And that kind of feeds the sidelines too. And we only had to punt once, which is nice. And we did a good job with our punt game. But just all of overall, returns and all that stuff, having great field position, makes it so much easier for the offense. It's easier to drive 50 yards than 80 yards. And I thought that was very evident in the game, given our offense short fields. And given our Jake Hudson, our offense confidence, I think that's a huge thing. You see Jordan Lever making plays. You see Greer making plays. You saw a running game, I thought, like I said, obviously from Tyquan McCray, Austin Smith, Nigel Henderson, all those guys are good. And our offensive line, I thought our offensive line did a really good job this past week at opening up holes for those guys.
Let's talk about that offensive line because it's probably safe to say it was their best game of the year. Why were they so much more cohesive on Saturday last week?
It's just experience. And if people look at and see our offensive line, we have a lot of young guys starting. Like I said, our most experienced guy last week was Andy Sorowski. He's our captain. A lot of those guys are first-time starters or haven't had many reps, and the guys are stepping up. And I think the more experience they get together as the year goes on, the better off that unit's going to be. And like I said, they did a really good job. I think that gives them some confidence going into this next game.
We talk about some youth and inexperience. Wilmington's secondary, they start 4 freshmen, and they've at times this year been the weak spot for Wilmington. I know they've won a couple games, but they're coming off a game where they gave up 72 points to John Carroll. A lot of John Carroll's scores were on the ground, but is there something maybe schematically about the way that they line up defensively where you think maybe Jake Hudson could have another good game this week?
No, I just think it has to do with experience. Just like their guys are young in the defensive backfield, just like our guys are young up front on the offensive line. The more times they get experience on the defensive backfield, the better they're going to be. And obviously they're going through some growing pains. And as an offense, we've got to make sure we take care of that with some of our obviously sophomores, juniors, seniors that have had some playing experience and get them guys out in space and, give them some issues on the back end. And I think if we can do those type of things and spread the field vertically and horizontally with our run game and passing game and stuff like that, I think we can do some good things offensively. And, like I said, it's kind of weird. I talked to Coach Mormie. I saw very good friends. So talking to him, it's weird going against each other. So, I'm excited about seeing him. But obviously, when it comes game time, I know both of us are looking forward to going against each other.
Well, it's hard to believe it's already week 5, and the season is flying by, but great to see BW playing well last week and hoping for another big one. Good luck.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
All right. More when we come back on BWYellowJackets.com. So BW and Wilmington are at midfield, just about ready for this afternoon's coin toss. All right, so BW wins the toss. They defer to the second half. Josh, let's talk about that interview. What stood out to you from what you heard from Coach Hilbert?
You heard him say it towards the end there. They got 4 freshmen in the secondary. This, like I said, is a great week for Baldwin Wallace offensively to continue to put it together, build their identity on the ground and in the air, and establish confidence. You heard him say that consistently. Confidence is crucial for a football team and this offense. We know this defensive-led team by Coach Hilbert is going to be very strong and fly to the ball. This offense needs to pull their weight on their end of the field.
Wilmington in white and green on the far side of the field, and you need to put sunglasses on when you're looking at the Quakers helmets because they're almost blinding. Yellow Jackets in their typical home jerseys, their brown tops with gold numbers and gold pants. BW ready to go, and I think this could be another exciting day for the Yellow Jackets. Hopefully a little more competitive than we saw last weekend as BW takes the field. Marietta Pioneers at times last weekend moved the ball okay, but they just couldn't really get anything going consistently. And Roger Walker, who is widely considered one of the top couple of backs in the OAC, was largely a non-factor because BW's defensive front 7 negated him in a major way. And today, similar kind of thought process, trying finding ways to make Luke Credit uncomfortable will put Wilmington away early.
Sure, and like I said earlier, we know this defense is going to be good week in and week out. Led by seniors, Sam Groff, Nishwitz, Schultz. You have a great defense, a great front 7 in particular, that's going to challenge you as an offensive line, as a running game, and especially as a quarterback to make the plays on them. Coach Hilbert likes to blitz, likes to play a lot of man blitz. We're probably going to see more of that today, and we're going to see what Wilmington does to counter it.
So the Yellow Jackets and Quakers with their final meetings here on the near sideline. BW is getting ready to kick the football off, which means we'll see the Wilmington Quakers offensively to start the afternoon. Special teams, especially on kickoffs. You heard Coach Hilbert reference that in our interview as well. That was a big help for BW last week in establishing some early game momentum. Eric Flynn Jr. and Kenny Jones back deep to return The Baldwin Wallace kick will be sent away by Jimmy Marshall. It's the month of October, so lots of pink being donned by both teams. Tape, armbands, sleeves, and the like. Week 5 in the OAC underway. And the kickoff is a good one into the end zone for a touchback. BW has the wind at their back here in the first quarter. It is unseasonably warm. It is 81 degrees here at first pitch, or I should say at kickoff this afternoon. And we have winds gusting up as high as 25 miles an hour, consistently blowing 15 to 18. So you'll see a windy afternoon blowing from right to left across your screen. Here come the Quakers, led by Luke Credit. And he's got his lead tailback, Eric Flynn Jr., standing behind him in the pistol, with P.J. Meyer, Amir Jackson, and A.J. Hightower all out there as well. On first down, Credit wants the deep ball. He's got Meyer over the middle. It's bobbled and dropped. P.J. Meyer was wide open. And BW catches a big break early.
You know, we watched that first series last week, Marietta, and we were really anticipating a lot of Roger Walker, and they came out with a lot of play action. I think opposing coaches are really seeing BW defensively and saying they're keying on our guys. Let's take some big shots early.
From left to right up front for the Quakers, Lance Hacker, Chris Jersky, Nick Moore is the center, Saul Boysel at right guard, and Sterling Clark, the right tackle. 2nd and 10 for Credit. This time it is Flynn, and he's able to get up toward the 30-yard line. Modest gain brings up 3rd down and 5. Baldwin Wallace defensively, they go with a 4-2-5 look. Eddie Schultz, Anton Richardson, Sharkin Bonaparte, and Wesley Spence all playing up front. Spence coming off a nice game. Senior captain Sam Groff and senior captain Sean Nischwitz are the 2 linebackers. Andrew Groves, Kerry Sparrow, Kyle Kelly, Trip Washington, Ty Fields in the defensive backfield. On 3rd and 5, Credit picking on the far side of the field, and a great pass breakup by Sparrow with a late flag thrown in.
I think they're going to get him for face mask there. Sparrow having his hands all over the receiver's face mask.
It's a defensive holding call. Interesting. But it was thrown right where Sparrow was running up the field. Well, it looks like they changed it. You're right, it is a face mask. The initial signal looked like holding, but I'll give you credit. You were right on the money. Wes Davis, our head referee. Joe Volpio, the head linesman. Line judge is Tony Montana. Terry Swagger, the side judge. Brent Brown, the umpire. Back judge is Tom Zetz. Tony Stubbs, the field judge. Wilmington picks up a 1st down on a penalty. They're moving the football here after starting on their own 20. There's a little dump off to Eric Flynn Jr. He shakes a tackle, crossing midfield with a flag coming in. Quakers are moving the football. This one looks like it's going to come back. Foul is called on Saul Boysel, the right guard. It's a holding call. I would imagine they're probably going to run behind Clark at right tackle a few times today. The senior lineman, 6'6", 325.
That's a big man right there.
He is going to make life difficult for Wesley Spence on 1st down and 17. A run to the weak side of the formation. It only picks up a yard or 2. 2nd down and 15 upcoming after Flynn got hit quickly. I have to admit, I like Wilmington's creativity in their play calling here early on.
Sure, you take the big shot early, try to catch BW napping on the first play, and now you're kind of going to your playmakers, sticking with your solid run game. And, you know, test these linebackers. You see him try to get on the screenplay that unfortunately got called back a couple plays ago. Brian
Moore, the first-year head coach at Wilmington, has drawn praise from all corners of the league with the job he's done so far at Wilmington College. Flynn trying to get to the outside, and he dropped the football. It popped out, Waiting for the official signal, but it looks like they are going to rule it a fumble. Wilmington hops back on it. A fortuitous break because that ball popped out right at the last second, and the Yellow Jackets almost took it over with great field position.
Great play by Nischwitz there, covering the field, has the speedy back in front of him, keeps him in front of him, able to get that ball out, but Wilmington fortunate to hop back on it.
And Nischwitz has kind of had one-on-one tackling opportunities a couple times here on this first drive. 2.5 minutes into the game, it is Wilmington's first drive of the afternoon. Credit goes with an empty backfield here. They need the BW 45. It's 3rd and 14. Flynn on play action. Great protection over the middle, and the pass is caught. First down, Quakers. Great throw over the middle. Amir Jackson moves the sticks.
They bring that motion from the opposite side of the field to try and get those linebackers to freeze. I think we can agree that this front seven, as we said, particularly these linebackers, really good on this defense. So they're trying to freeze them in the middle of that field, get the play in right behind them.
It's a gain of 17 yards and a first down. Credit on a design keeper with a big hole to the left. That's another Wilmington first down as he picks up 12 yards down to the 30. Great play design because had he stayed in the pocket, maybe even half a second longer, he could have gotten smoked in the backfield. Impressed with Credit's poise here on this opening drive and his command of the offense. He's made a couple of nice throws. They almost hit on a home run ball over the middle on the very first play from scrimmage. P.J. Meyer will have nightmares about that one. 1st and 10 from BW's 30. 11:20 left first quarter. And this time BW sniffed it out quickly. Wesley Spence, a tackle for loss.
Great play. They're trying to read him on that read option. Comes upfield, plays the back and quarterback, and either it's a bad play by the quarterback or great play by Spence. I think we stick with the great play.
Quick substitution for the defensive side. They'll bring Sharkim Bonaparte out of the game, and Sekou Amani, who is one of Coach Hilbert's most impressive young defensive linemen so far. He'll check in at defensive end. Sticking with that 4-2-5 look. 2nd down and 11. Credit lets it go. That one was bobbled and incomplete as it hits the turf just before popping into one of BW's hands. He was looking for his younger brother, Matt Credit. Matt couldn't hang on to it. Matt does not have a reception on the season. Check that. 4 catches for Matt Credit on the year, but not one of their leaders. 3rd down and 11. 4 catches for 65 yards this year for Matt Credit. Just under 11 minutes to go in the opening quarter, and this play's blown dead. Looks like Wilmington will have to back up another 5 yards.
Seeing that blitz coming gets an offensive lineman very nervous.
The Quakers need Baldwin Wallace's 20-yard line. They are faced with a 3rd and 16. And admittedly, the kicking game has not been good this year for the Quakers. They are 0 for 2 kicking field goals, although they have connected on all 16 of their extra points. Kevin Shamp, the place kicker. Imagine this is 4-down territory, especially going into the wind. And Jim Hilbert calls for timeout, and he started running onto the field and pointing at a couple of his guys.
Wasn't happy with that trips formation as we see close to the side of the field here. Like we've talked about in the pregame, he's a man blitz kind of guy, and defensively very difficult to press a bunch formation, so wasn't really happy with his defensive look.
The defense in general for BW here in this opening series has kind of been moved upon. Wilmington putting together a decent drive, even if they can't find points. It's their 10th play of the drive. They've moved the ball a pretty good way up the field. They were deeper than the current line of scrimmage at the 36. They had gotten as far as the 30. Right now it's a 9-play, 39-yard drive. And look, it's taken 4.5 minutes already off the first quarter clock. Quakers are starting to generate some momentum, and I think this puts a little more pressure on BW's offense once once they get a chance to come out.
We keep seeing this look early where they're only bringing 3 defensive linemen and have a linebacker kind of checking as if he's going to blitz. Bring the blitz late.
And they bring it from 2 different sides. Flynn on the screen pass makes the catch. He gains 11 yards, but he's still well shy of the first down on 3rd and 16. And Wilmington in a position where they have to go for it. They need 5 yards. Ball's on the 25. 4th down and 7 for the Quakers. BW, even though they have brought some heat, Luke Credit hasn't been touched yet. 4th and 5. Good protection again. Credit throws a deep ball. Diving effort, but an incompletion. And the Wilmington drive stalls on their 3rd play when Luke Credit couldn't find Matt Credit near the left pylon. No points for Wilmington. It's a win for BW, but now we're going to see the Yellow Jackets offense take over from their own 25.
And we talked about it earlier. This is a good opportunity for them to start offensively very quickly. They found a lot of depth at the running back position last week with McCray and Nigel Henderson. Let's see if they go back to that running back by committee while still incorporating Austin Smith.
So Baldwin Wallace takes over. 1st and 10. And the reigning OAC Player of the Week, Jake Hudson, in the shotgun. Hudson with a pink sleeve on the entire left arm. He wants to throw, and he connects with Chad Steinwalks. Up across the 30 to the 31 for a 6-yard gain. Brings up 2nd down and 4. Steinwalks last week, 5 catches, 3 of them in the end zone. A career day for him. Actually, it's a pretty favorable spot. They put him all the way to the 32, so 2nd and 3 coming with 9:33 left in the opening quarter. On the first carry from scrimmage, it's Austin Smith who gets swallowed up near the line of scrimmage. 3rd and 1 coming. Austin Smith, Nigel Henderson, Tyquan McCray all have seen consistent carries offensively.
This is where offensively you'd like to theoretically challenge your offensive line, challenge your running game, and say, go get me that first down, especially after the week they had last week.
Wilmington puts 4 down linemen up, ready to go. 3rd and 1. Great push by the defensive line. The throw caught on the far side. With forward progress, that should be enough for the first down. And they do give it to the Jackets. It was caught by Greer out in the flat. I should specify Dion Greer, not Darian Greer. So BW moves the chains for the first time.
A little higher tempo right here.
We'll give you Wilmington's defensive starters in a moment as Austin Smith takes it over the right-hand side for a short gain. Up front, Ryan Prince, Bernard Ross, David Henry. They're all defensive linemen, and they'll go out there with T. Narcisse Murphy, Ryan Gonzalez, C.J. Thompson, Steve Broussard, the linebackers, Paris Weathersby, Leroy Wilson, Devin Jones, and Olin Kyle, the defensive backs. 2nd and 7 after the 3-yard pickup. Motion man, tight end Pat Orsini. Hudson with great protection again. Steinwalks over the middle, and he overshot him. It's frustrating for Hudson to miss one wide open like that, but remember, the wind is howling from right to left, so maybe just a little bit of an adjustment for him, thinking that ball hung up there a little longer than he thought.
Those are good mistakes to make early, but I'll tell you what, you got a guy running open down the seam like that, as open as Steinwalks was, you got to hit him.
Well, you're right. Hopefully it's only mistakes early in the game. Hudson threw for more than 260 yards last week, 5 touchdown passes against the Marietta Pioneers. Wilmington showed pressure. Hudson on the design keeper, wants to go. He's got the first down up near midfield. Stopped on the play in the second level of the defense by Trequez Parks. First down, BW.
See a little bit of that versatility there by Hudson. That he sat in the pocket a lot last week, but we know in watching him from games past that he has definitely that versatility.
Jordan Leverett checks in, standing right on the 0 at the number 50 at the moment. He is as fast as anyone across the conference, and they like to get him the football when he checks in the game. Keep your eye on Leverett, number 19. First and 10 with 7.5 minutes to go. We're halfway through the first quarter. Leverette's in motion. He'll take the handoff, rolling to the right. Good block by Smith. And Leverette's got it up to the 39. It's a 9-yard gain, 2nd and 1 coming. I suppose they say maybe his knee hit at the 40, so call it 2nd and 2 instead. Sacked. Late flag thrown in, but David Henry there to gobble him up with Bernard Ross.
That looks like an offensive holding against that offensive line to begin with. And, you know, they've been moving the ball particularly well, but not as great a start as they had last week up front.
Waiting for the official call from our head referee, Wes Davis. Davis goes over to the far sideline, wants to explain the options to Brian Moore, who is standing in the green pullover and the white hat. And he says, back him up. All right, the hold is on center Ryan Simpson, Andrew Sorowski, Patrick Simon, Simpson, Dale Hazard, and Clayton Stanton. The 5 up front for BW this afternoon.
Watch McCray in the backfield.
He is a shifty back. 2nd down and 12. On the fake handoff, it's dumped to Steinwalks over the middle. His 2nd catch of the afternoon. And that should be good for a 1st down. Wilmington brought some pressure there, but kind of left everything open over the middle of the field. 1st and that's going to be a defensive encroachment foul. Ross jumping across too quickly. First and 5. 6:31 left in the first quarter. This is BW's first drive. And much like Wilmington's opening drive of the game, they're moving the football effectively. 9th play of the drive upcoming. They've already moved it 40 yards since taking over at their own 25.
Steinwalk's bottom or near side of the field here, one-on-one.
Ty Gallo is in the slot on the left-hand side too. Austin Smith takes it up the middle, and he got hit quickly. Wilmington's defensive line is doing a pretty good job here this opening drive.
Which is very surprising because you look at the stats here and not a lot of pressure generated. You got one guy on the defensive line that's registered a sack all season, and then your linebacker has your other sack. So very interested to see how this battle and this matchup between the offensive line and defensive line continues throughout the game.
2nd down and 4. Hudson sends a man out wide. He decides to keep it himself, running to the right. Hudson with room to the outside, and he is out of bounds just around the 5-yard line. Great vision by Jake Hudson on a 26-yard run.
And I'll tell you what, your average fan won't be able to appreciate this, but when they go watch film later this week, Rob Wolfington's going to get a big pat on the back because he made a great block on that side of the field.
You're right, that's the biggest play Wolfington's made so far in the game. Senior wide receiver stepping up and springing his quarterback for a big one. They'll actually put it just inside the 5, 1st and goal. Back. And he got swallowed up quickly. C.J. Thompson, one of Wilmington's captains at linebacker, got to him and stuffed him right at the line of scrimmage.
Now this part of the field is where this offensive line could really take pride in their strength as a group and a unit and really assert their dominance on this defensive line, this defensive unit as a whole, and continue to grow that confidence they have from last week.
C.J. Thompson, the team's leading tackler, he and David Henry, who's a senior on the defensive line, drew a lot of praise from Brian Moore this week, saying we rally around those two on that side of the ball. 2nd and goal. Hudson dumps it over. His tight end dropped it. Oh my goodness. Pat Orsini had it in his hands, bobbled it, and could not come down with it. He was wide open in there. Instead, it's 3rd and goal. Actually, I beg your pardon, that is their 2nd string tight end, Ty Ramsier. Either way, an incompletion. So Steinwalks, Ramsier, Wolfington, and Greer are all out there as targets. Austin Smith, the left side car in the backfield. 4:24 left in our opening quarter. Hudson has to hurry. Buy some time. It's incomplete in the end zone. Almost intercepted by Traquez Parks. And Wilmington comes up with a big stop, forcing a field goal attempt.
Good defensive stop by Wilmington, but this field goal is still instrumental for what BW is trying to establish offensively. No points, as we discussed, through the first quarter of this entire season. This will at least allow them to build upon something moving forward.
You're right, that's been a really frustrating stat for the Yellow Jackets. No points through 4 first quarters entering this week. But this very short field goal up and good, and so the Yellow Jackets are on the board thanks to Brandon Vollmer. 3-0 BW. It's a 14-play, 70-yard drive that ends in 3 points. Interested here to follow the psyche of the Yellow Jackets the rest of the way here, because while they did score, I think they probably expected to find the end zone, and Wilmington came up holding them to just a field goal.
And 2 big misplays. You have the wide open seam route to Steinwalks that was just overthrown where he had no one in front of him. And then you have the drop in the end zone, which is the biggest gut wrench. But you have something you could build upon with the field goal, and now your defense is going to come out and hopefully get a stop and give you another look on offense.
Lakers getting ready to go again. They send Flynn back deep along with Kenny Jones. Jimmy Marshall on to send away the kickoff. 4:12 left in the first quarter. The Jackets on the board early. Marshall with a great kick. Wind at his back, and he sends it booming into the end zone for a touchback. So far, so good for BW on top here early on. Interested to see what kind of adjustments this Wilmington offense makes in their second go-round, because the fact is they were able to move the football with, I wouldn't say with ease, but with frequency. They had a good drive up the field. Wilmington ran the ball 5 times for 19 yards, completed 3 of 6 for 35 yards through the air on that first drive. Credit comes out, and he's got Flynn in the backfield with him. That was Malik Pettiford in the pre-snap motion, and Flynn got hit quickly in the backfield as the Jackets take care of him for a 2-yard loss.
I think Coach Hilvert saw that last drive that running 3 defensive linemen just wasn't going to cut it. So you see him come out in the typical 4-2 look and immediately stop that running play in the backfield.
Flynn checks out here, and they'll go with an empty backfield, or maybe not. Now Flynn runs back on. And Credit has to tell him what he's doing. All right, we'll keep our eye on this as Flynn lines up to the right. Still 8 seconds on the play clock. Credit with time to throw, and he finds his younger brother, Matt, across the 30 to the 31-yard line. It's a solid gain of 8 yards. 3rd down and 4. Needing the 35. Credit tried to see if the Yellow Jackets might jump off sides, but they did not. Pressure coming, Credit smoked in the backfield, and he'll be dropped for a big loss. Andrew Groves coming off the corner, and he drills him, forcing Wilmington to punt.
And that pre-snap, you saw him scare off the BW defenders, especially Tripp Washington. He was thinking of that line of scrimmage, kind of floated into the middle half of the field, and then came back to bring that pressure and bring that pressure on Luke Credit.
Credit also serves as the team's punter, and so he'll stay in the ball game here and line up inside his own 10-yard line. Credit punting away for the 12th, or I should say the 13th time this season. He's actually had one 58 yards. He's got a pretty good leg. And into the wind, he hits a wobbler, takes a very Wilmington-friendly bounce. And the Jackets will just deal with it. They'll take over just inside the 35-yard line. Much better defensive stand there from Baldwin Wallace.
Like I said, they made that change, come out in their typical 4 defensive lineman look. You see him come with some delayed blitzes, especially there on 3rd down, which is what Coach Hilbert really likes to do, challenge skilled players to make plays on his defensive backs and his defense as a whole.
Today's game brought to you by Dan Andrews and Olympic Forest Products, a global recycling company. By Domino's Pizza in Berea. Call us at 440-891-0030 or go online at domino's.com. And by the Ohio Education Credit Union. Gain the advantage. Build your future today. Jake Hudson and the Jackets back to work. 1st and 10 from their 35. And on play action, he wants Leverett deep down the right side, and he overshoots him. Hudson having trouble on the deep ball. He's not afraid to let it go, but he can't connect yet.
Hard to imagine you overshoot one of the fastest guys in the OAC, but he did there.
You start to wonder how much the wind really is playing a factor, because he hasn't underthrown anyone all quarter so far. And remember, in a minute 39, they're going to go into this awfully strong wind. And he's going to have to totally shift his thinking and a test for that. 6 seconds to get it off. 2 seconds. Hudson's okay. Austin Smith right through the middle. He's got the first down up near midfield. Austin Smith, biggest carry of the game.
Good strong running there by Smith, especially after the week we saw from him last week. You want to get him the ball, get him some early carries, establish his confidence as well, let him make plays for your offense.
Yeah, it was frustrating for Smith last week. After fumbling on the opening possession, he saw far more limited touches than he probably wanted to the rest of the day.
On the positive side of that, though, you see the depth you have at running back with Nigel Henderson and McCray, as we got to pass Sales wide here. So you learn some depth at your offense and what you can bring moving forward in this rely upon this running back by committee type of situation.
Well, if you want to be a good football team in the OAC, you have to have depth. There's no doubt about that. Everybody deals with some injuries. Today, one of the unavailable players for BW's made a pretty big impact this year. Will Vance, not able to suit up. And so it's up to a few other guys to step in. 2nd and 10 from midfield, just over a minute to go in the first quarter. Hudson has him open again, and he overshoots Wolfington. Jake Hudson only 3 of 9 for 23 yards through the air.
And he's getting the looks he wants. They're bringing the blitz off that side, and he has his man, just like Steinwalks the series earlier, running up the seam, just happens to miss him. You just hate to see that as an offensive coordinator.
3rd down and 10. Jackets bring Mike Carbon in wide to the left. Hudson has to hurry, and he's not going to be able to get one off. How about the pressure from Wilmington's defensive line? First it came from Ryan Prince, but he was finished off nicely by David Hendry and Bernard Ross. Brian Gonzalez at linebacker in there too. And the Yellow Jackets forced to punt the football now on 4th down and 17. A.J. Hightower back deep to return the punt for Wilmington. BW quickly gets it off. It's a good punt from Dominic Lombardi. And fair caught inside the 15. Well, missed opportunities right now are shooting BW in the foot more than anything else.
I think you can agree with me that so far in this anticipated matchup of this offensive line and defensive line and the confidence that we wanted to see BW establish, I think that Wilmington, can take pride in the fact that they're doing a good job holding their own up front.
Well, I think on both sides of the football, Wilmington is more than holding their own at the line of scrimmage. After having to punt on their last possession, we'll see what Luke Credit does here. First time this game that Gino Hinton is checked in at running back, but it's Credit that keeps it and runs for a gain of maybe 1. Gino Hinton, a young guy from this area. In fact, he was a really good high school running back at Maple Heights, playing his college football at Wilmington. Credit's 1-yard run is the last play of the first quarter. And so the Quakers will start the second quarter with a 2nd and 9, and they'll have the win at their back. Baldwin Wallace 3, Wilmington nothing after 15 minutes in Berea on a beautiful homecoming afternoon. Second quarter when we return. BWYellowJackets.com. Second quarter of the Yellow Jackets game brought to you by the Oswald Company for all of your insurance and risk management needs. By Medical Mutual of Ohio, the official healthcare provider for Baldwin Wallace University. And by the Comfort Inn in Middleburg Heights, where your comfort is just a part of the service we provide our guests. Brendan Gulick, Josh Rendiro with you. Nick Rizzo along with us in the booth this afternoon. Baldwin Wallace up 3-0 on Wilmington, who has it 2nd and 9. A flag thrown, the catch made on the far side, running back inward. That was Deshaun Maddox on the catch. But we'll see where things end up after the penalty is assessed or ignored. It's an offsides on Baldwin Wallace. Not an encroachment, but an offside penalty, so they let the play continue. Maddox will not be credited with his 8th catch of the year because Wilmington took the penalty instead. So 2nd down and 4 from the 21. Gino Hinton back in as the tailback. Credit spreads things out offensively. Four down linemen, 6 in the box for BW defensively. They dump it to Hinton, who's trying to fight off a tackle, but really couldn't get much as Kerry Sparrow came over to him quickly.
Great play by Sparrow right there. I think Wilmington's receiver probably got away with a hold on him. Still makes the tackle. Great play.
Yeah, Hinton really fought for that 2 yards. Things are slowly developing here. It's 3rd and 2 from the 22. Makes an adjustment with his wide receivers. That's P.J. Meyer in motion. Wesley Spence creates a lot of pressure, and Luke Credit's able to make something out of it. He was down before the ball popped out. Ends up gaining 12 yards on the carry. How about Luke Credit recognizing quickly that play was falling apart and then somehow slipped through the middle of the defense?
Not only that, when he gets one-on-one with Baldwin Wallace's Ty Fields, most quarterbacks go to slide in a defensive situation like that. He lowers his shoulder, fighting for those yards. That inspires you as a fellow offensive player.
Wilmington Quakers are a very different football team than what the rest of the OAC is used to seeing. Been watching OAC football for almost a decade, and I'm awfully impressed with what they've done today. Credit takes a hit, throws it down the field, and he overshoots Meyer. Incomplete. I mean, from the line on both sides of the ball to their skill position players, to the creativity in their play calls, to their execution and their body language. This just flat out looks like a team that actually believes in itself. And again, it's no offense to prior teams, but Wilmington just didn't have a presence about it. Now they have some confidence.
Sure, and when you got your quarterback in the open field, not protecting his body essentially and going out full out for the team and trying to get those extra yards, that shows you the dedication of the program and what the head coach is bringing to those kids.
2nd down and 10 from their own 35-yard line. BW trying to bring some pressure. Credit can't spin away from one. Then he throws it over the middle. How did he make something happen? It's caught for a gain of maybe half a yard. That was incredible.
I can't believe it. I could have swore I saw his knee down, but apparently he makes a great throw there. Interesting call by the ref. Say we'll leave it at that.
Well, it was close to being a sack for sure, but in his ability to spin out of it, Luke Credit, again, he gains maybe a full yard, probably less than that. 3rd down and a long 9. They need the 45. 2 minutes into the 2nd quarter. Spence busts through again. Credit can't spin out of the rest of the defense. Andy Schultz there to get him. He keeps his feet moving back toward the 35-yard line, but once Schultz wrapped him up, that was it.
That front 7 really coming through. Outside of that first series, the defense has been a lot more stout against this Wilmington offense and getting their offense another look here to start the 2nd.
Ty Gallo back deep to return the punt for Baldwin Wallace. And Luke Credit back deep to punt it away. Credit looks a little winded at the moment. His punt with the wind at his back is a good one. Gallo from his own 24. Oh, he absorbs a big hit over the 32-yard line. Wilmington covers up nicely on special teams. 2nd quarter. Fair to say that both teams have had their best offensive football on their first drives of the game. Now, there was a penalty flag thrown here near side. And we're waiting to see what the call is. Wow, okay, so they're calling sideline interference on Baldwin Wallace during the receiving, or I should say during the kick.
Very silly penalty. That's back-to-back weeks where Baldwin Wallace's sidelines gotten caught doing that too. That's just undisciplined football, and you're not even in the field of play. That's very upsetting.
That's a big penalty. So the Yellow Jackets take over 1st down. It is 1st down and 10, even though the chain gang hadn't moved yet. Not 1st and 25, the way they were kind of lining up. Everybody's about set. So BW takes over from their own 19-yard line. Tyquan McCray, the tailback here. Wolfington and Gallo to the right. Hudson on the quarterback Reed. He's able to make something happen, get over the 25-yard line before he's stopped in the middle of the defense by David Henry. David Henry is an impressive young man. He was actually just recognized by the Ohio Athletic Conference this week as the OAC's Scholar Athlete of the Month. A young guy that lost his mother to cancer a couple years ago and was awfully close to quitting football, but decided that he didn't want to give up on his teammates. And he's worked his way now to the point where he's actually a captain for the Quakers. Pass to Wolfington, caught over the 30-yard line. It's a 1st down for BW. Head coach Brian Moore said David is everything that's right about student athletes. He gets it, takes a lot of pride in doing things the right way and leading from the front. He continued and said on the practice field, in the classroom, around the campus, in the community, David is everything that student athletes should be celebrated for, and he's thrilled that he was recognized by the conference as the Scholar Athlete of the Month. Congratulations to David Henry. 1st and 10 for him, the 31. Hudson couldn't quite step out of a sack as Henry grabs him and brings him down. Hudson had some happy feet. I thought he might be elusive enough, but Henry made him pay for it. Big loss. It sets up 2nd down and 19. Steinwalks and Gallo wide to the left. Wolfington wide right. Dion Greer. Actually, I beg your pardon, that's not Greer, but Luke Osborne, who's standing on the near sideline watching. Ty Ramsier is in the slot on the right-hand side. And now a timeout called for by the Yellow Jackets as they couldn't get things squared away.
Looks like some confusion in the backfield there with the freshman McCray. Something you just got to get resolved, come out. This is a big drive for Baldwin Wallace, too. Like we said in the beginning of the game, we were looking for them to start fast, and they did get 3 points on the board there in the first quarter, but you got to start building your identity. You have this plethora of running backs. Utilize them. Challenge this offensive line to assert themselves against this Wilmington defense.
Well, there are only 3 other games across the conference this afternoon because Otterbein and Muskingum played after everybody opened the season with their one non-conference game. So Otterbein and Muskingum actually have their bye today. The other games in the conference, John Carroll's at Marietta, and they're beating the Pioneers 24-7 at halftime. Capital and Ohio Northern don't kick off till 6 o'clock tonight. The other game across the OAC that I think a lot of people, even nationally, were looking forward to paying attention to is Mount Union and Heidelberg. Because Heidelberg is off to an unbeaten start. They smoked John Carroll, and Heidelberg certainly appears to be a good team. And the Purple Raiders are reminding them who's king in the conference. It's 35-7 Mount Union midway through the second quarter. Hudson fakes right, throws left. Nice catch. Gallo keeps it alive, and he's close to the original line of scrimmage, and then some. Way to keep your legs moving, Ty Gallo. From the 22 to the 34, a 12-yard pickup. 3rd down and a much more manageable 6. Jake Hudson now 5 for 11 on the afternoon for 40 yards. Hudson's also run it 5 times for 31 yards. They'll call it more like 3rd and almost 7. It doesn't matter what the distance is. Ty Ramsier, big catch. 1st down, BW. That was one of Hudson's most effective throws of the day, and now BW 3 of 5 on 3rd downs. Seventh first down of the game. Hudson lost the football, and it looks like it popped right into the hands of one of his linemen. I think it's Clayton Stanton who popped up with it. I mean, you want to talk about right place, right time. Stanton, the right tackle, gives his teammate Dale Hazard a low 5. He doesn't get any rushing stats for it, but he recovers the fumble. 2nd down and 7 as everyone inside Finnie Stadium exhales. Under 9 minutes to go in the second quarter. BW only leads 3-0. They marched all the way up the field their first drive of the game, but could not get in the end zone. On the option, a screen to the far side. It was almost picked off by Jay Higgins. Instead, completed for a loss.
This offense is really struggling in stringing plays together and really trying to find, as we said earlier, an identity.
Well, let me ask you this. Are they throwing short passes here because Hudson has not been able to connect on the open looks he's had downfield when he's missed on 3 or 4 deep balls?
Well, they can see, obviously, through that big play a couple plays earlier, hitting the seam again. So they have deep plays available. I just think that after a week that they had last week where he was connecting on the deep and middle and low part of the field, I can't understand why they're not going back to that and building continuity.
Let's see what they do on 3rd and 9. Good protection. Hudson wants to use his legs. He's got the first down and more. Inside the 25. A 22-yard run for Jake Hudson and a first down. Jackets convert on their second third down this drive. Now 4 of 6 in third down situations on the afternoon. 7:30 left in the opening half. Brandon Vollmer's 27-yard field goal in the late first quarter, the only points on the board. Hudson steps up, is hit, and he's sacked. Ryan Prince, the defensive end from the right side, came off and knocked him. And Wilmington continues to get pressure on the quarterback much more frequently than we're used to seeing. Second down and 14 after the loss of 4 yards. 9 plays, 54 yards on this current drive. And BW has taken almost 6 full minutes off the clock. Smith the tailback. Hudson keeps it. Throws over the middle. Touchdown, Baldwin Wallace. 27 yards for the score.
Imagine that, getting the ball into the hands of your playmakers.
Nice throw across his body on the run. Hudson and Gallo connect for the first touchdown of the afternoon. Jackets on for the extra point. And Vollmer's kick is up and good.
No good.
No good. It went wide right. I beg your pardon. I thought it went through the, just snuck in the right side. Ty Gallo's first touchdown catch of the season. Baldwin Wallace with a 9-0 lead. All right, so Yellow Jackets have to go back to work, but they strike on a big play. Certainly like to see that you're out front on the scoreboard, but Coach Hilbert, I know, had aspirations of trying to put Wilmington away early in the game and kind of squash their hopes. We saw last week when they played against John Carroll, the Blue Streaks scored 9 touchdowns on the afternoon. 8 of them were on the ground, and they sort of put Wilmington away early in the game. That seemed like a good recipe. And the Jackets haven't been able to get Wilmington's offense off the field maybe as quickly as they want to this afternoon.
And to build upon that, like you said, all those rushing touchdowns last week, and they're simply not either going after them in the running game or exposing them. And to me personally, you're seeing Jake Hudson, you're seeing his versatility running around in the pocket, but I think we both can agree last week, in his best game so far this season, he just sat back in that pocket and made plays. Now he's running around and relying on his versatility as a running quarterback to really get it done for this offense.
Wilmington mishandles the kickoff. Malik Pettiford, the halfback, falls on it. And so the Quakers, with no return, they'll just take over from their own 23-yard line. 6 minutes, 31 seconds left in the opening half. Yellow Jackets just scored the game's first touchdown on a nice pass from Jake Hudson to Ty Gallo. We'll see what Luke Credit and the rest of the Quakers can do here in response. Eric Flynn back in the game. This is a quarterback keeper. Credit coming near side with some room. All the way toward the sideline and out of bounds at the 46. But a flag thrown back at the 26. And it's a hold on Wilmington. Waiting on the number. Spot of the foul is the 26-yard line. Unfortunately did not catch the number. It's a spot foul. So it's not 1st and 20, but rather we'll put the ball in the 16. So it's 1st down and 17 BW 28 plays for 164 yards. This is Wilmington's 21st play. They've only accumulated 67 yards of offense. Credit. Looking. Shovel passes it forward. It's caught. How about Amir Jackson almost catching that out of just reaction? He sort of reached up and grabbed it.
How about Amir Jackson? How about Credit there? That is a heads-up play to make that shovel pass, knowing you're going to take the hit from the defender, but getting the yards anyway.
I'm really impressed with Luke Credit this afternoon.
He's had some big plays brought back by penalties, and you hate to see it as an offensive coordinator and especially one of his teammates, but he is moving the ball, barring these penalties.
Credit on second and short. Wants the deep ball right side. Incomplete.
A lot of contact at the top of that route.
Looking for Matt Credit. Just overshot him. Ty Fields hip for hip with Matt Credit the whole way down that far sideline. Don't blame Wilmington for trying to take a few shots here, especially considering it's 3rd down and 5. That's still manageable for them. Wind is really gusting hard on this sun-soaked mid-October afternoon. 5:20 left in the second quarter. Wilmington, I thought they just got the playoff in time, but perhaps they called a timeout. They did. So the Quakers take their first timeout of the half. Baldwin Wallace has 1 remaining, 2 left now for Wilmington. Josh, the score might not be where we had expected it. Probably felt coming in that BW would have a comfortable lead late in the half. And there's still 5.5 minutes left before halftime, but how is this game kind of playing out in your mind compared to where you expected it would be?
I have to put it on the play callers. I can't really fathom why you're not getting the ball in your playmakers' hands. Ty Gallo, Greer, Steinwalks, McCray, Austin Smith. You have so many weapons on offense that you need to utilize through trick plays as we saw last week, deep plays to the strengths of your offensive players, and instead you're relying on your quarterback to really make plays on his feet, which he is doing, but that's not the identity of this offensive team.
Yeah, Wilmington is good enough that they're able to keep him contained sometimes, but Hudson is a pretty good dual threat quarterback, and so he has made some plays with his feet. 3rd and 5. This is a quick pass caught by P.J. Meyer. It's close to the first down. We'll see where they spot him. He was driven backwards after the fact, but he might be just a little bit short. They put him right at the 32, and it's a full yard short. Wilmington looks like they're going to go for it. Eric Flynn Jr., the running back, 4 wide receivers. Still 13 seconds on the play clock here.
Be surprised if they don't give to Flynn right here.
BW's packed the box. Credit wants to keep it. He's got it. First down. Well, the Yellow Jackets just pressed everybody in that box up on the line of scrimmage. I think they were on the same wavelength you were, expecting it to be a run up the middle.
You have to imagine, especially if you're Coach Hilvert, that it's going to be through number 5 or number 13 for Wilmington. You got to make them, make the plays against your defense, and I think Coach Hilvert, like you said, is kind of on that same page.
First 4th down conversion of the game for the Quakers, now 1 of 2 in that regard. First down carry, good for 3 yards up to the 38-yard line. Eric Flynn Jr. on the rush. But not much. He's had too many negative runs, and so he's really only run it for a handful of yards.
They've also had a lot of positions, too, where they've been in long 3rd down situations and in long 2nd down situations where you can't necessarily get the ball to them unless, like they've tried to do, on screens or in space.
Flynn again, 7th carry of the afternoon, and it's easily his best. Across midfield, it's a 13-yard gain and a first down. Now 7 carries for 21 yards in the afternoon for Eric Flynn Jr., who entered the day as the leading rusher for Wilmington. Quakers move the sticks again. It's their 6th first down of the afternoon. And on this first down carry, able to move it up 3 yards. 2nd and 7 coming from Baldwin Wallace's 46-yard line.
Giving BW's defense a healthy dose of the run game. Try to get those back secondary players and those linebackers to kind of come up a little bit, see if you get a play behind them.
Gino Hinton, the young man from Maple Heights, checks in. Eric Flynn heads out. Hinton wants a screen pass, makes the catch. Bulldozes over Baldwin Wallace's Ty Fields, but he fumbled the ball. He actually fumbled it ahead a yard. Fallen on by Wilmington's offensive line. That was Lance Hacker, the left tackle, that was coming over. And he was able to get the football. It worked out in Wilmington's favor, not just that they got it, but they picked up an extra yard.
Credit Ty Fields on that play. He read it all the way, and he was there to make the stop.
3rd down and 5 for Wilmington. Quakers in white. They're moving right to left here with 2:24 left in the second quarter. And BW come up with a big 3rd down stop. Flag flies. Catch is made by Amir Jackson, and is distance enough for the first down. We'll see what the penalty's on.
Offsides on Ty Fields.
He was lined up in the neutral zone. Wilmington should decline the penalty. They got 1 extra yard by completing the pass. Clock stops at 2:16 while the officials sort this one out. Maybe it's just me, but this is easy math. Take the 6 yards and the first down instead of the 5 yards and the first down. All right, so it took an extra 30 seconds, but they got the decision right. And the Quakers have it 1st and 10. They'll officially put it at BW's 38-yard line. Trip Washington adjusting defensively. He'll go cover Amir Jackson in the slot here. Credit on play action. Looks over the middle. He's got P.J. Meyer inside the 20. And a late flag comes in. Washington was there. Kyle Kelly was there. It should be a late hit out of bounds.
I think if you're Coach Hilbert, you got to call a timeout right here. Your defense, and especially Ty Fields, really upset with that last call against him, and you see it there a little late after the play going out of bounds. Just an unnecessary penalty, and a really stupid penalty at that.
They're calling it on Kyle Kelly. We're at the 2-minute mark of the second quarter, and it's 1st and goal for Wilmington from the 9-yard line. Wilmington Quakers looking to get on the board here late in the first half. Credit on the keeper. Shakes away. Jackson, he's in. A broken play turns into a Quaker touchdown.
And give all credit on that play to Luke Credit. Absolutely makes a man miss in the backfield. And that wasn't a designed pass either. Has his man open and gets the ball to him. Incredible play by Wilmington's quarterback.
So the Quakers get on the board for the first time in the game with 1 minute and 47 seconds left before halftime. A reminder, BW is obviously going to get the football back here, and they will start the second half with possession. Kevin Champ on for the extra point. He's hit all 16 on the year prior to this one. Make it 17 for 17. So the Quakers, they get a pretty good drive. How about that? 11 plays, 77 yards. Took just under 5 minutes to move the ball up the field. And they're proving to be a pretty worthy opponent this afternoon.
And this is the opportunity that BW's offense really needs. I know I keep harping on them, but they need to pick up the pace and the scoring just for their defense's sake. Come out here, 1:47, take a shot, make some plays. You got all these playmakers on offense. Get yourself a bigger lead going into the locker room.
Baldwin Wallace, with 1 timeout remaining, sends Leverett and Washington back deep to return the kick. Those are probably their 2 best all-around athletes. Washington is a captain. He plays safety. Leverett, one of the fastest kids in the OAC, also runs track. He competes in the 100 and in the 200-meter dash during the outdoor track season and the indoor track season. He runs the 60-meter dash and the 200. So the kickoff coming here from Wilmington. Joshua Chua to send it away. Washington from the 9. He's got a hole. Washington back toward the numbers. And he's swallowed up with a late flag coming in on the far side of the field, back near the 35-yard line. Great return for Washington. We'll see if the penalty is on BW or Wilmington here. And it's on the Yellow Jackets. This is BW's 7th penalty of the first half. Seven penalties for 64 yards in the first half on BW. 4 for 31 yards against the Wilmington Quakers, and it's 10 yards from the spot of the foul, so it actually negates about 14 or 15 yards off of that really good return. 1st and 10 BW, 1:38 left before halftime as they try to extend their lead before going to the locker room. Austin Smith runs to the sideline and ducks out of bounds ahead of Brian Gonzalez. It's a 1-yard pickup, 2nd and 9. Wide receiver to the top of the formation is Mike Carbon. DeJuan Glover and Dion Greer both to the bottom with Jordan Leverett. Hudson wants to let it go, and he almost threw an interception to the far side. Jay Higgins on the coverage. He was right there with Mike Carbon the whole way. 3rd down and 9. 1:27 on the clock.
Now we have to think here, barring a first down, Wilmington's going to get the ball with some time on the clock and an opportunity to make a play going into the half.
And if the Yellow Jackets don't pick up a first down, I wouldn't be surprised if Wilmington uses one of their 2 timeouts to try and conserve some of that clock. Carbon wide left. Same 3, Greer, Glover, and Leverett wide right. Smith on the handoff. He's close, and he has enough to move the chains. A draw call on 3rd and 9. It picks up 10, and BW 10th first down of the first half. Clock running inside a $1:20. Hudson has Greer over the middle, escapes out of the pocket, decides to run the football, and he's out of bounds at the 38-yard line. And a late flag comes in. Ryan Prince was over there with Hudson out of bounds, and the Yellow Jackets are going to get 15 more.
Speaking of mental mistakes, that's something you can't do with BW. Really lacking an identity, and you having all the momentum going at half and just doing a stupid penalty like that. Big penalty.
Yeah, Prince is over with head coach Brian Moore and trying to use his hands and show him what he did, but either way, I'm not sure the head coach is buying it right now. That is a critical mistake for the Quakers. Prince checked out of the ball game, replaced by Kyle Ackley at right end. 1st and 10, Jackets from Wilmington's 47.
Leverett bottom.
Hudson goes through his progressions, and he throws a completed pass to Carbon. It's a 7, maybe 8-yard pickup. Second down and short coming with under a minute to go. BW tries to get set back up quickly. 46 seconds and counting. Hudson has to hurry, and he almost lost the football as he got sacked. Baldwin Wallace calls timeout. From T. Narcisse Murphy. Final BW timeout of the half, and that one puts a damper on BW's hopes here. It's certainly far from over. Look, 41 seconds is a world of time. Remember, BW's kicking into the wind, and given that Brandon Vollmer's got decent range, extra point on that last attempt, you wonder how close they would feel comfortable, or maybe I should say how far away they would feel comfortable trying a field goal. If there's only a few seconds left and you have nothing to lose, perhaps that's one thing, but Baldwin Wallace needs to dig deep here and try and figure out a way to keep this drive going. Third down and 10 coming. Jackets have a new left guard in there. It's DeJuan Bridges, number 55. He's a big boy. Bridges listed at 6 feet tall, but 265 pounds.
We got speed here at the near side of the field. Number 4, DeJuan Glover, and Jordan Leverett, obviously one of the fastest guys in the OAC. Let's see if they take advantage of that. They got him one-on-one, too.
Mike Carbon, wide to the left. This is Greer in motion.
He's got him.
Hudson on 3rd and 10. Hit in the backfield. He dropped the football, and Wilmington has fallen on it. The Wilmington Quakers have fallen on the football. Let's see if they still have it when everybody gets out of the pile. Clock stops with 32 seconds left.
I think Ryan Prince might have redeemed himself by recovering that fumble.
Prince has the football in his hands. Now, here's the thing I'm wondering. Hudson's arm did appear to slightly be moving forward, and they may rule this an incomplete pass instead of a fumble, which would obviously be a big break for BW.
Looks like you may be right.
Originally, they let it play out, called it a fumble. If you call it an incomplete pass in the field, it's hard to then go back and change your mind. So let's see what they decide. The ruling on the play is a fumble recovered by Wilmington.
That is a very late call there by the refs.
Well, that's what they called on the field. They must have felt they didn't collectively see enough to overturn it. So Baldwin Wallace fumbles the football. It's the game's first turnover. And Wilmington College, down 9-7 with 32 seconds left in the first half, has a chance to add to the lead. BW gets the football first to start the second half. So this is a bonus opportunity for Wilmington. They have 2 timeouts at their disposal. Credit. Up in the pocket with time. He wants it all into double coverage. Incomplete. Good effort looking for Amir Jackson. A gutsy effort. Probably not the safest throw, but he still put it close to being on target. 2nd and 10 with 24 seconds left.
Gotta love the attitude by Credit. You're the underdog in this game. You do have all the momentum in your favor. Why not take the shot and see what happens?
Again, Wilmington has not successfully kicked a field goal all year, but they haven't missed an extra point. So you'd think they could probably execute a very short field goal. 2nd and 10. After the fake handoff, Credit over the middle. It is right into the hands of Deshaun Maddox, and it ricochets off his shoulder pad. Oh my goodness. Incomplete with 19 seconds left. Wow.
Mental mistakes on both sides of the ball for both schools. And I'll tell you what, going in a half, both head coaches have a lot to talk about with their guys.
Credit 12 of 18 for 107 yards. Hudson 9 of 16 for 94 through the air. 3rd and 10 for the Quakers from the 45. It's a screen pass to Flynn. He's got blocking. Eric Flynn Jr. down inside the 20, and he's pushed out of bounds. 9 seconds on the clock. It stops with the chains moving. Wilmington has time for maybe 2 plays, potentially only 1 before trying to kick a field goal if they can't get in the end zone. Again, Quakers still with 2 timeouts to use. 9 seconds to go. Credit lobs it up, far side for Jackson, and he throws it over his head. Incomplete. And so with 4 seconds left in the first half, looks like Brian Moore and company are going to call a timeout and discuss how they want to handle this. This was not how Baldwin Wallace drew this up. Kevin Champ, a freshman kicker. Again, he connected on the extra point a little bit ago. The only 2 field goals that he attempted came 2 weeks ago against Capital in their 37-30 win. But he missed on both of those 2 field goals.
It's like they're bringing in an extra defensive back and Jordan Johnson there.
Just going to say, you know what? They aren't going to kick a field goal here. They must feel that this is outside of Kevin Champ's range, and so Wilmington is going to take a shot at trying to put one in the end zone.
It's easy here if you're BW. Those defensive backs protect the goal line, keep the ball in front of you. Nothing gets behind you.
4 seconds to go, probably the last play of the half. It's a trick play. Rolling around Maddox. And he's up to about the 15-yard line. Not a bad idea by Wilmington to try something creative. But BW was right on top of it, and the Quakers unable to convert. So we're at halftime of a pretty interesting game, and honestly more competitive than I think most people thought. The Yellow Jackets still have a 9-7 lead. They kicked a field goal on their first drive of the game. They eventually scored on a 27-yard pass from Hudson to Ty Gallo, but missed the extra point. That's why it's 9 instead of 10. And I have to be honest, looking around and feeling the energy in the stadium here, BW fans are a little nervous.
I don't think this is what they anticipated at all. And I'll tell you what, if I'm a player on the offensive side and a play caller on the offensive side, any type of coach, we need to get together outside of the head coach's talk, and we need to figure out what we're doing going in the second half. There was a lot of convoluted plays and very interesting play calls, you know, and no plays being strung together for this offense. And in reality, that big play that they got on offense really was a broken play defensively.
Wilmington isn't exactly celebrating going into the locker room, but Baldwin Wallace's body language as they left the field was certainly not positive. So BW 9, Wilmington 7 at halftime. We'll step aside for a little bit. When we come back, we'll give you some halftime numbers and get you set for the third quarter. Jackets by 2 at the break on BWYellowJackets.com.
Number
at Baldwin Wallace with the Yellow Jackets on top of the Wilmington Quakers by a score of 9-7. Interesting first half that featured some good offense from both sides at times. Also featured maybe some just missed opportunities more than anything else. We only had one turnover, but both teams had chances to connect on big plays. I don't want to blame the wind on it every time. I don't know if that was really what it came down to or not. Certainly could have been a factor, but at the end of the day, I think both teams probably went in the locker room thinking, man, we could have another 3 touchdowns on the board.
Sure, and if you're BW, especially if you're quarterback Jake Hudson, you left throws on the field. And for this team coming out of half, I really hope that their offensive play callers and coaches got them together and said, what's our identity going to be this second half? Austin Smith with 7 carries, while Wilmington's Flynn had 8. What's your identity as a team? Are we a passing team or are we running? They need to string plays together, but at the same time we saw last week against Marietta, this is where they came out and really unleashed their offensive potential.
What I think is maybe alarming to me as you look at the numbers in the first half, there's some good things, but the thing that bothers me the most, we praised the offensive line last week for how well they played against Marietta. Wilmington has credit for 5 first half sacks, and Hudson has run the football a total of 11 times for 37 net yards. Look, at the end of the day, he's had to be flushed out of the pocket because Wilmington's creating some pressure here.
Sure, and I think that particularly last week, why Jake Hudson is always is because that offensive line. He sat back in the pocket, he didn't align his legs, he really uncorked the ball, drove off his back leg, and made great throws to this plethora of offensive playmakers that he has. We're not seeing that this week, so we can hope that we see that here in the second half.
Well, Wilmington has taken a long time in the locker room. They are just now starting to emerge. Baldwin Wallace came out of the locker room several minutes ago. Their coaching staff is standing down on the sideline, and the Jackets are going through their calisthenics. Let's try to go inside the visiting side for a moment. If you're Brian Moore, you came on the road, you created a turnover late in the half that put some pressure on and prevented BW from adding to their 9-7 lead. I know they're probably not where they want to be, but how happy do you think the Quakers are with their performance?
Well, this defensive line in particular was really, I would say, underlooked coming into this game, and we gave the favorable position, this BW offensive line, but so far through one half of play, they've absolutely dominated. Like you said with those sacks, Ryan Prince really redeeming himself by that silly mistake earlier, recovering the fumble, and if I'm head coach of Wilmington, I need to get my offense on that field. I need credit to continue to make these plays for me, and that starts with that defensive line, and in particular, that front 7 stopping that offense.
Here's some numbers for you at the break. Wilmington actually outgaining BW by just a few yards. Both teams have essentially had the same offensive output. Wilmington 36 plays for 172, BW 35 plays for 169 yards. Wilmington more effective through the air. Credit 13 of 21 for 133 yards and a touchdown. Jake Hudson 9 of 16 throwing the football. He's thrown for 94 yards and a touchdown. He's been sacked 5 times. Rushing the football, BW certainly had the upper hand. 19 carries for 75 yards. Hudson has 37 yards. Austin Smith, 7 carries for 30. On the Wilmington side, they've run it 15 times for a total of 39 yards. Luke Credit, 6 touches for 19. Eric Flynn Jr., 6 touches for 16 yards. Wilmington spreading out the ball in their receiving core. Flynn with 4 catches for 45. Amir Jackson, 4 catches, 44 yards and a score. PJ Meyer and Gino Hinton, each with a couple of receptions. Chad Steinbach's caught 3 touchdown passes last week. He's got 3 catches for 20 yards this week, but they all seem to come very early in the game. I know you're looking for him to get more involved and keep our eye on him. Defensively, Leroy Wilson leading the Quakers with 7 total tackles. Trip Washington, 7 tackles, leading the way for BW. Jackets were outpossessed in terms of time of possession by 2 minutes in the first half. Both teams converting on third downs pretty well. Wilmington 4 of 8, BW 5 of 8. And the penalties, I think, probably the biggest area of concern for the Jackets. They're penalized 7 times for 66 yards in the first half. And they unfortunately seem to come at bad times.
And you can't expect as an offense that's already lacking that identity, a good tempo, and a good set of play calling, that those kind of penalties are going to put you in a much more favorable spot. You got to be smarter as a team coming into the second half. You need to come out and say, we are going to exert ourselves on this Wilmington team. We're going to come out and run. We're going to get the ball into the hands of our playmakers. Ty Gallo, Jordan Leverett, across the board, so much depth that they're failing to utilize.
Baldwin Wallace, 15-3 all-time against the Quakers. They've got 8 straight wins. Wilmington has not won since they beat BW in Berea here in 2008, 27-21. We have a much more low-scoring game at halftime, but very interested to see how this second half plays out. Gorgeous sunny afternoon here on October the 7th. Glad you're with us. BW with a 2-point lead, and they'll get the football first. Washington thought Leverett would take it, and vice versa. So Washington from the 4-yard line, trying to make something out of it, and he's able to at least get past the 20. That was a nearly disastrous start.
Special teams dictates where you're at on the field, and don't like to see that start in the second half.
So the Yellow Jackets take over 1st and 10. It's officially from their own 22-yard line. 11 first downs for BW, 5 of them through the air, 5 of them on the ground, so good balance in that regard. They had a couple of drives where they moved the ball up the field. In fact, both of their scoring drives, 14 plays, 70 yards, 10 plays, 81 yards. So they were lengthy drives. See if they can string something together early with Tyquan McCray and Austin Smith in the backfield. It's McCray. And he picks up a couple. Actually, they've put Rob Wolfington in the game as well to try and block on the right-hand side. And a fullback, Robert Androina, is providing a little protection. He checks out. Chad Steinwalks will go to the top side of the formation with Greer and Ramsier. Wolfington by himself, wide to the right. He's matched up against Paris Weathersby. 2nd and 8. Hudson, great play action, and he finds Steinwalks. First down across the 35. Really sold that one well.
Absolutely. I know something we talked about at half is just the overall body language of this BW team going into half. It seemed like they were really dejected, and deservedly so. I mean, in a game where they were supposed to come out with the utmost confidence building upon last week, they really need this series and this drive to really bring their spirits back.
That's where you've got to rely on your upperclassmen like your senior quarterback to get you going again. 1st and 10 from the 37. McCray gobbled up quickly. Another stop by the Quakers on the defensive line. It's Bernard Ross, who was there along with David Henry. They have clogged the middle all game. No gain, 2nd and 10. Still McCray in there. We haven't seen much of Austin Smith here in this first drive. And Droida back in as the fullback. Both teams pack the line of scrimmage. BW feels like they can run the football, establishing that early here in this half. Tyquan McCray over the left tackle for a 5-yard gain. 3rd and we'll call it a long 4.
But now look at what you're able to do as an offensive play caller and as players on the field. Now you have this Wilmington team packing the box, as you said. You have these talented receivers and playmakers on the outside that you can get in one-on-one matchups, and so they can use their speed and ability to separate from defenders to get the ball in their hands.
Jackets on top 9-7.
Steinwalks 101 top of the field.
Gray shifts from left to right. Gets the handoff again. And he is hit shy of the first down marker by Brian Gonzalez. Wilmington forces a 4th and short. Baldwin Wallace appears to bring the special teams unit out onto the field here. So Dominic Lombardi comes in to punt the football. A.J. Hightower back deep to return a kick. 4th down and a long one. Kicked away and into that strong wind. It went off the side of Lombardi's foot. And Wilmington's going to get great field position. They are juiced up on the far side of the field.
Now, we talked about before the start of this half, Baldwin Wallace's offense trying to establish identity and more of a tempo this half. This defense, too, had some plays in that first half, especially mistakes and penalties that they can really rectify in this second half.
It's a 15-yard punt for Lombardi. And Wilmington takes over their first possession here post-halftime. Luke Credit. I think he deserves a tip of the cap for the way he played in the first half. He hands off to Eric Flynn Jr., who got whacked in the backfield. Lots of Yellow Jackets there, but the first to hit him, Sean Nischwitz. Flynn's forward progress minimizes the damage. It's a loss of only one. But Nischwitz and Groff and Wesley Spence, all of them there. It was Andy Schultz. Second down and 11. Credit dumps it into the flat. Nice catch on the run made by Malik Pettiford. It's close to a first down and picks up 10 yards. Third down and 1 coming. W is hoping to rip the football out there. Sean Nischwitz kind of ripping for the football. He couldn't pry it free.
He's made some great one-on-one tackles in the open field today.
Right, he's been challenged a lot. Third down and 1 for Wilmington at the 10:48 mark and counting here in the third quarter. Sun is dipped behind the clouds for a moment. Wilmington pretty good on third downs. They're 4 of 8, make it 5 of 9. Flynn into the deep part of the defense, and he's ripped down by Washington all the way up to 30. 22-yard scamper. First down, Quakers.
You see big Sterling Clark there for Wilmington, setting a big block on Wesley Spence to spring Flynn into the open field.
First down, Wilmington from the 30. They go right back to Eric Flynn, and Wesley Spence came unblocked off the end. Makes the stop along with Anton Richardson. Second and 10. Pettiford checks out for Wilmington, so does A.J. Hightower. Dylan Volts will line up at wide receiver out wide to the right. Matt Credit wide left. Amir Jackson in the slot on the right. The official stopped play. He's going to reset the play clock here. The wind actually had turned the ball before anyone had touched it. 9:41 on the third quarter clock. There we go. Gino Hinton. Short gain as Wesley Spence picks up yet another tackle. Eighth tackle of the game for Wesley Spence. Wilmington nearing the 9-minute mark of the third quarter. They've got another third down, and this time it's 3rd and 7. Credit finds Amir Jackson. It's complete. He needs the 20, and he's got it. Jackson dives down inside the 10. First and goal, Wilmington. 18-yard pass and catch. Third down defense is killing BW here on the first drive of the second half for the Quakers. Under 9 minutes to go, third quarter. Credit spreads everybody out. Hinton wants it. Instead, he blocks Credit. Diving down toward the 2. Not a surprise to see them running behind the mountain right tackle, Sterling Clark, 6'6", 325, out of Northwest High School in Cincinnati.
Right at that right tackle spot, which is notorious offensive line position for run blocking.
Eric Flynn lines up to the right. Credit gives it to Flynn, and he's stopped by Sam. Sean Dishwitz there too. 3rd down and goal. BW put Parker Hoffler on the defensive line prior to last play. They took Anton Richardson out of there.
Now, if
3rd and goal from the 4.
If you're BW's defense, you got to imagine that with their kicking woes, this is 2-down territory for this Wilmington offense.
Credit. And the play is blown dead as he started to roll to the right. I think maybe Wilmington called timeout. Yeah, they did. They got it off just in time. We are almost exactly halfway through the 3rd quarter, and the Wilmington Quakers with a 3rd down and goal from the 4. You're right, their kicking game has let them down. To say that it's let them down all year probably isn't fair, because they recognize they don't really have much of a kicking game. They've only attempted 2 field goals, but both of them were off target. They're able to kick extra points, so maybe, given that the ball's on the 4, maybe this is field goal range here. But if you're Wilmington, I think you're trying to obviously get into the end zone.
That and the simple fact that if you don't get it, you have BW's offense pinned, and they haven't really done anything to show you that they're a threat to your defense. Your defensive line is winning the battle up front in the trenches. So this, for me, if I'm one of Wilmington's offensive play callers, this is 2-down territory.
I might disagree with you. If I'm Wilmington, I might try to take the lead. It's a very short field goal. You take the lead, maybe that means something on the road, but I can certainly see the other side of the road. Either way, they're more focused on trying to find the end zone on 3rd down and not trying to deal with a 4th down yet. Luke Credit rolling right, throws back across the middle for a touchdown. A.J. Hightower puts Wilmington on top.
I think there was some miscommunication there on the back end of that BW defense. You see, number 1, Kerry Sparrow was really upset with his teammates. I think there was a miscommunication because of that backside motion got everyone to freeze.
Hightower's first touchdown catch of the afternoon. He and Amir Jackson each have one today for the Quakers. Kevin Champ, plenty on it for the extra point. And Wilmington College looking for their first win in Berea since 2008. They score on their opening drive in the 3rd quarter and lead Baldwin Wallace 14-9. For the Jackets, it's not how you wanted this to go, but it's time for BW to dig down deep.
Sure, and this is real gut check time for them. Your defense has been out there way too long. You have not pulled your end of this game, and you need to find a way. And I keep harping on it, but I will continue to harp on it until they get the ball in their playmakers' hands. We both saw last week they utilized everyone on this depth chart, essentially on offense, by scoring through multiple avenues, multiple outlets, getting multiple guys involved. And I can't seem to fathom why they're not doing that in the second half in this game as a whole.
3rd touchdown of the year, by the way, for A.J. Hightower, his 9th catch of the season. A.J. Meyer, 5 touchdowns. Hightower has 3. Amir Jackson scored today. He's got 1. That's it. So the Quakers will kick off. Lots of games still in front of us, but it's time for BW to figure out a way to move the football here. Jordan Leverett and Trent Washington switch sides. This is Leverett, and inside his own 10 with lots of room. Spins out of one tackle and into another to about the 31. And with some forward progress, falls to the 30, almost 4-yard line. We said it going into the halftime locker room. There are some nervous Yellow Jacket fans in attendance this afternoon. I don't think it's fair to say that BW took Wilmington lightly today. I think it's much more fair to say that the Quakers are a far better team than we're used to seeing out of Wilmington. The last 8 years, folks, they have only won 1 game at most in the regular season. This has not been a good program, and Wilmington is very much back in a different way. on the Wildcat. A chance for BW to rip off a big play. Matt Lowry all the way down to the 30. They'll put him right at the 30 for a 36-yard run.
They snuck quarterback Jake Hudson out of the pocket there in kind of a Wildcat look. Gave the defense kind of a look they probably hadn't seen before, and they paid the price there.
So it's 1st and 10 with Hudson back in at quarterback. Under 7 minutes to go, third quarter. Tyquan McCray right into the middle of the defense. Rumbles forward for 7 yards. 2nd and 3 upcoming. Wilmington in 2008, when they last won here at BW, they have an injured jacket on the field, and I think it's McCray who just ran the football there. Hopefully he's okay as they head out to attend to him. In 2008, Wilmington went 4-6. That was their best win total, including this season. 4-6 is their best win total since 2001, when they were 5-5. So they haven't even been a 500 team. But their wins in that 08 campaign, they beat Marietta, they beat Muskingum, they won at Heidelberg, and they beat BW. But from 2009 on, here's their record. I mean, season by season, just to give you an idea. 2009, they went 1-9. 2010, 0-10. 2011, 0-10. 2012, 1-9. 2013, 0-10. 2014, 0-10. 2015, 1-9. Last year, 2016, 0-10. They had a stretch at one point where they went 1-39 in a 4-year window, and that only win came against John Carroll back in 2009. It was it was really just a rough stretch for the Quakers, and they had lots of different issues, and they couldn't get it going. They couldn't get it right. And I think there's a lot of faith right now placed in what Brian Moore is able to do. He's definitely got this team moving in a better direction. Meanwhile, there's a little bit of a hush that's fallen over the stadium, and as a Yellow Jacket fan, I appreciate the sportsmanship that Wilmington is showing at the moment. They are all down on one knee as Tyquan McCray is being attended to down on the field. Again, I don't want to speculate. I have no idea how severe the injury is, but it seems like it's taking a little bit longer than normal, so hopefully he's all right, as a couple of his teammates went out there to kind of help him up. McCray is not putting any weight at all on his right leg. Again, I don't know if it's a foot, ankle, knee, hip. Don't want to speculate, but he is clearly in some pain as he's coming off the field, and hopefully his absence won't be lengthy, but I would say, given his current condition, it looks like his return this afternoon is doubtful, which puts a little bit more on Austin Smith and Nigel Henderson. We haven't even seen Henderson this afternoon. Been the feature back other than that. Hopefully McCray is okay.
And up until that play, we saw a big run there by McCray. And, you know, those are the kind of runs that, you know, that's what tires the defensive line down, and especially defensive line that has won the matchup today. So you want to keep those runs going.
Greer and Leverett wide left, Wolfington wide right. Yellow Jackets use Brian Baranowski as their tight end on the right-hand side, with Austin Smith standing aside Jake Hudson. 2nd down and 3 from the 25. 6.5 minutes left to go in this third quarter as Leverett runs right. He's able to get to the corner, and he's pushed out right around the 10-yard line. Leverett really turns on the Jets. He is tough to stop. He's at the 8 for a 1st and goal. Baldwin Wallace trying to answer the Wilmington go-ahead touchdown. The Quakers' first drive here in the third quarter. Alongside Josh Rendiro and Brendan Gulick. Been a beautiful afternoon, and we've had a fun, competitive game between two schools who are really giving it their all this afternoon. Both of them enter today at 2-2, looking for some momentum going into the middle of the year. Hudson on the keeper, and a nice open field tackle by captain linebacker C.J. Thompson.
Now that they're in the red zone, you got to convert here. You have to take this lead back, get these fans involved again, and get your own teammates involved.
Well, third down and red zone appearances have been frustrating this year. The ball pops out across the goal line. There are 2 flags on the field. They have not made a ruling yet on the field. Got 5 officials huddling at the goal line. Again, there are 2 flags down. 1 in the end zone, 1 on the 8-yard line. There's a big decision coming. Substitution on the defense. They had 12 men on the field at the time of the snap. Baldwin Wallace decided to decline the penalty. And so the Yellow Jackets now are going to go for 2 and try to make this a 3-point game. BW back out front, 15-14. Unfortunately, I didn't see who fell on the ball in the end zone. But we'll try to let you know when we get word on that. This is a big play here, though. Greer, the motion man. Hudson rolling right. Throws it to Greer, who's got it. 2-point conversion good, and Baldwin Wallace leads 17-14.
Amazing what happens when you get the ball in the playmaker's hands.
It's officially ruled a 4-yard touchdown pass from Jay Hudson and Keon Greer. Again, that would have been a replay. Greer crossed the goal line and scored and then fumbled. Crown Plaza in Middleburg Heights. Looking for a quality place to stay before or after any Yellow Jacket contest? Choose the Crown Plaza. Andy Marshall in to kick it away. Well, Marshall hits a squib kick because he didn't want to kick it up into this gusting wind. And while Wilmington doesn't have a return, they might be better off not returning it, considering where they picked the ball up on the 37-yard line. This has been a game that has left us scratching our heads a few different times. Good day for Luke Credit, 16 of 24 for $164, 2 scores, no interceptions. Can Credit move his team back up the field here? First and 10, not with Anton Richardson stuffing the hole. No gain on the play. Gino Hinton carried there for just the 3rd time this afternoon. Now 3 carries for 13 yards. 2nd and 10. Hinton shuffles over to the right-hand side here. Still 10 seconds on the play clock.
Sees a blitz coming from that side.
Hinton runs away from the blitz. And there are 2 flags thrown in. Hinton got crunched right on the number 40. But that was a pretty easy holding call that will send Wilmington back, I imagine, 10 yards. The Yellow Jackets is a little slow to get up. Quakers collectively all back down on a knee here. Holding's called on Chris Jersky, the left guard. Tyquan McCray was hurt on the touchdown drive for BW about 5 minutes ago. He's still being attended to on the near sideline. Looks like he has an injured teammate here. Trying to get you an update from the other couple games going on around the conference. I'm warning you that they're not close. Heidelberg early in the fourth quarter is losing to Mount Union 63-7. That was a game we anticipated could be a tight affair. Not the case. John Carroll blowing out Marietta 48-21, and the Pioneers were down 38-7. They've tried to get a couple of things going here late in the game. Looks like with only 3 minutes left, it's too little too late for Marietta. By the way, the injured Yellow Jacket was Wesley Spence. He walked off under his own power. Good to see. Capital and Ohio Northern kickoff in about 2 hours out in Ada. 2nd and 22 after the holding penalty. Wilmington needs the 47. And that pass slipped away out of Luke Credit's hands, incomplete.
Now this is the situation if you're BW's defense that you want to be in. 3rd and extraordinarily long. You just play back, you play conservative, keep the ball in front of you, make the tackle, get a nice 3 and out.
4:27 left, third quarter. BW just took the lead on a touchdown pass last drive. 17-14, Baldwin Wallace. Looking for their 9th win in a row against Wilmington. High snap. Credit on the screen pass, dumps it to Hinton. He's got some blocking, and he could not hurdle over Kerry Sparrow and Ty Fields. A good game for the Quakers, but not nearly enough. Kind of like the play call, though. Almost sprung him for a monster game. As the Wilmington Quakers come in to punt the football, and look at this. They've got a new punter in there. It's Tim Murphy, not Luke Credit. Might Wilmington be trying something different here. Murphy kicks it away. That's a great kick down the field. Holy cow. That's only the 2nd punt attempt of the season for Tim Murphy. First one went 35 yards. That one really flipped the field position. So the Jackets take over 1st and 10 from their own 15-yard line. Tim goes 3 and out offensively, and BW goes back to work after the 50-yard punt. That was terrific.
That was a great kick. We didn't talk too much on that last series either about Sam Groff really making that big tackle on that play that you were right, almost was sprung for a touchdown.
Matt Lowry lines up to the left, Austin Smith to the right. It's Smith. Trying to jerk his way through the left side of the line of scrimmage. Stopped defensively by Kyle Ackley. 2nd down and 4. Left third quarter. Lowry in motion. Hudson had a couple of options, decided to run it. And he's got the first down up to the 28-yard line.
I think here in the second half we're seeing a more concerted effort by this BW offense to really get their yards on the ground. Maybe try to get some of these players on this Wilmington defense a little bit more fatigued. See if then they could get some big play opportunities over the top.
Austin Vest just checked in at right tackle. 6'6", 325. He's a big guy. Ryan Baranowski in at the tight end as well. Here's Greer on the little pitch. Sweeping out to the left. That one didn't work quite as well. Picks up maybe a yard. Couple of Quakers there, but C.J. Thompson wrapped him up down low. Called 2nd down and 9 from the 30-yard line. sudden, Austin Best checks right back out. Clayton Stanton just needed to fix some piece of equipment. I don't know if it was a helmet or shoulder pad or something like that, but he is quickly back in there as the starting right tackle. 2 minutes to go, third quarter. Baranowski changes sides. Another run to Austin Smith. And a flag thrown in back near the line of scrimmage after Smith picked up 4 yards.
It's in the spot of offensive holding.
Holds on Baranowski. That's the tight end. Put it back at the 20. Second down at 19 with under 2 minutes to go in the third quarter. A passing friendly formation with Chad Steinwalks and Pat Orsini, the new tight end.
Speaking of which, Steinwalks checks in, and he's been getting a lot of one-on-one looks this whole day, and they've gone to him a couple times, but I really like to see him use his big size like he did last week, go take the ball on some deeper routes.
Gallo in motion. There's a screen to Smith, left side. Great move by Austin Smith, and he's got lots of room to go. Breaks another tackle.
But that blocker Wilmington.
Austin Smith inside the 10. 72 yards on the screen pass.
Sticking with this tempo and high pace, right back to the line of scrimmage.
Austin Smith helps BW on their biggest play of the afternoon. Late third quarter, leading by 3. Smith gets it again. Trying to use his blocking, but they didn't really get much forward push. And Smith picks up maybe just a yard or 2. Second down and goal. Call from the 6-yard line. Baranowski back in at tight end. Baldwin Wallace will have the wind at their back in the fourth quarter. Though admittedly, it looks like the breeze is dying down just a little bit. Not as much. Still kind of windy out. Hudson handled the bad snap, you're right. Tried to make something happen, but David Henry wrapped him up quickly. Haven't seen too many poor snaps today, but that one was almost costly. And I think BW is content to let that be the last play of the quarter. Only 7 seconds left here in the third quarter. The Jackets will go to the other end of the field. After 3, Baldwin Wallace 17, Wilmington 14. It looked like Baldwin Wallace is knocking on the door here. Another big opportunity. They can extend this lead. That might be enough. Let's see about Wilmington again. Fourth quarter when we come back. Brought to you by Parkway Auto Care in Berea, Strongsville Express Tire and Automotive, and Montville Express Tire and Automotive. They serve the southwestern suburbs of Greater Cleveland. BW by 3. First play of the fourth quarter is third down and goal. Lowry trying to get to the corner. He stumbles his way across. Yellow Jackets.
They came out in that same formation to start the second half. They kind of wildcat look where Jay Hudson is out in the receiver flex spot, and they've gotten 2 big plays out of that. And it comes down to you're getting your talented guys the ball, and they're helping you out and put scores on the board.
Wilmington has an injured player on the field. I think it's C.J. Thompson. Kind of looks like he was cramping up. Hopefully that's not too severe of an injury. Some of Baldwin Wallace's players here are going to get on a knee as Wilmington had done for them. It is Thompson. He hops up and he appears to be okay. Punching at the back of both of his calf muscles. All right, so the Yellow Jackets take a 23-14 lead, and they'll bring Brandon Vollmer on for the extra point. Try to make it a 10-point edge. Baldwin Wallace hoping for back-to-back wins. After opening the season with a win against Defiance, the Jackets unfortunately lost back-to-back games to John Carroll and Mount Union. They handily beat Marietta last week. They have definitely had a more challenging game against Wilmington than maybe they thought. Vollmer looking to make it a 10-point lead. Got it. So the Jackets in a good spot here early fourth quarter. 354 yards of offense. One of their better days of the season. It's still shy of 570 last week against the Pioneers. It's nice to see BW running and throwing the football effectively here in the second half. Let's say 13 of 20 with 183 yards. His 7 completions. Most of them came on deep ball attempts for the game. So after a few early mistakes, it's settled into a better rhythm.
Yeah, you see it through the second half. I worked on the issue, the challenge, and finding your identity. Those long runs by Austin Smith, and them coming out that wildcat to score. They're doing that. They're showing the defense different looks than they did in the first half. You know, on the scoreboard and the stats, you're reaping the rewards of coming out in these different looks.
Jimmy Marshall keeps it away. From just outside the goal line, this is Kenny Jones. To about the 22. So the Wilmington Quakers back to work. Luke Credit leads the team back on the field. Credit 17 of 26, 174 yards and 2 touchdowns. Neither team has thrown an interception in this ball game. The only turnover was a Baldwin Wallace fumble very late in the first half.
Credit's been really quiet here in the second half. I wouldn't be surprised to see them give him more of the reins here in the play calling, maybe get some big pass plays and utilize their quarterback.
You're right. We're awfully creative early on. Here's a play action. Credit steps out of a tackle, puts his head down across the 25. He paid for it, but picked up 4 hard yards. Second down and 6.
And right off the bat there on the first play, they try to go play action, go deep, but when you got no protection, you can't step up to make a good solid throw. You got to run around, make plays like that.
Credit is 4 for 1.5 for 41 yards. Wilmington down by 10. Eric Flynn hit quickly. He loses at least 1, maybe 2.
Back-to-back series where Sam Broth makes a huge play. He shot the gap right there and was the first one to meet Flynn in the backfield.
Broth's an all-conference linebacker and one of the best young men you'll ever meet. Not a surprise that his teammates elected him as a captain. It's 3rd down and 7 from the 26. Credit looking down the field. He's got P.J. Meyer, and it's broken up by Ty Fields. Meyer had it, but couldn't pull it in. Fields and Sparrow both there. And Wilmington is forced to punt the football. Once again, they've got Murphy back into punt. After a 50-yarder last time, this one comes to BW's sideline. Let's see where they mark it out of bounds. They put it at the 48. So the Jackets have a really short field to work with here. With a 10-point lead and time on their side. So let's wait and see what BW dials up. Remember last week against Marietta, a couple of times when they had chances, they went for the home run right away. They really tried to make it hurt quickly. He's got Leverett all by himself on the bottom of the formation here.
Corner, give him respect, give him about a 5-yard cushion. Respecting the speed.
And Hudson wants to throw it to him. He just couldn't let it go. Hudson still with time. Looks down the middle, and it is caught by Greer. Keon Greer! Great speed! Touchdown! Not how he drew it up, but it worked.
You like to see Hudson extending the play there, using his legs. And instead of taking off forward like we've seen him do today, he looks upfield, makes a great pass to Greer, and Greer does the rest himself. A great individual play by that young man.
BW out front, 30-14. Vollmer bombs it through the uprights. Well, it's taken a little while, but the Yellow Jackets are starting to go into separation.
Now we've seen Greer really separate himself offensively. He did go to a guy here in the second half. Really get that initial touchdown to take the lead and now get this big one-on-one play, making guys miss the open field to extend that lead.
Almost feel like there's some life in the stadium. Certainly hear the band, it's having fun. For a while, it's fun going over the library in the football stadium. All of a sudden, BW's faithful starting to realize that Jackets are up by 17. All right, who's going to step up into the Quakers here? Wilmington with Eric Flynn and Kenny Jones back deep to return the kick. BW still with 2 more home games on the season. They won't be at home for the next couple of weeks. They're at Muskegon and at Ottermont the next 2 Saturdays. Almost the Capital in Huntingburg. Good kick by Marshall. It goes into the end zone for a touchback. Only 2 minutes gone by in the 4th quarter. BW's defense comes back out. I wonder too if maybe at the start of the half, I think BW's done a better job controlling the line of scrimmage. Really on both sides of the ball, but especially defensively. And when Wilmington hasn't been able to lengthen out their drives or pick up first downs when they've had those chances, it's kind of stymied their momentum. That time, Credit got hit pretty good as he crossed the 30. It's a pickup of 6, 2nd down and 4.
Speaking more to your point, though, when you're not able to run the ball, you know, you're forced to pass, and the defensive line can really pin their ears back and come after you as an offensive unit, as a quarterback. And Credit has really to his credit, been put in good situations today where his offense and his running game have put him in favorable spots where he can hit play action, he can hit plays behind this great linebacking core. But now that they're down this much, you have to anticipate they're going to be passing the rest of the way forward.
Well, 1st and 20 here for Wilmington after the holding call. That's not how they thought this would start. Credit on the screen pass, finds Eric Flynn at the 15. Slips a tackle and gets up to the original line of scrimmage at the 25, maybe up to the 26-yard line. Wilmington Quakers on their very first drive of the second half went 61 yards in 9 plays. They have only had 25 yards of offense outside that drive. Back-to-back 3-and-outs. Credit throwing one up. A lot of contact for Meyer. No call. Howard Dover on the coverage.
Late call, wow.
And the flag does come in. Wow. The Jackets are all frustrated on the sideline. Jim Hilbert is pretty vocal. I think his argument is, hey, if the official that was standing 5 yards couldn't see something, why were you able to see it on the backside of the play? It is pass interference against Dover.
Mark that under interesting calls.
You got a running tally? 1st and 10 for Wilmington after the automatic first down. Jackets lead it by 17. Time on their side, but Wilmington trying to string something together here late in the game. Some pretty upset fans here too, at the officiating. Credit, nowhere to go. He flips it out to Flynn. Are you kidding me? Eric Flynn, still on his feet down toward the 36. That might be the play of the game.
This Luke Credit is an incredible, not just quarterback, but playmaker for this Wilmington team. I cannot believe, and that's twice in this game he's gotten that ball out, essentially being taken to the ground.
That kid is a gamer. 1st and 10, Wilmington. Unbelievable. On the play action, caught by Amir Jackson. I think he's a yard shy of the first down. Forced out of bounds by Ty Fields. I mean, you just sit here and you shake your head. Luke Credit has made things happen today in the smallest of windows.
And turned into the biggest of plays. And I lost sight of him as he's being taken to the ground behind that offensive line. And out of nowhere, you just see that ball pop free and a big play for Wilmington.
Another pass to Jackson. Great shake. He's down inside the 10 after he's tackled by Andrew Groves. Wilmington, 1st and goal. They have taken that pass interference penalty on Howard Dover and marched a couple of big plays up the field here. Gino Hinton down inside the 5. He's right around the 3-yard line. Sets up 2nd and goal on the 5-yard run. See a lot of hands on hips and heavy breathing from BW's defense. Wonder here if maybe they'll go right back to Flynn and try to pound it in. 10:55 left in the game. Credit dumps it to Flynn on the screen pass, and that's an easy touchdown. Wilmington refuses to go away. They're down 31-20. Quakers deciding here what to do. I think it's probably a pretty easy decision to kick the extra point. I'm not sure what the advantage would be of going for a 2-point conversion. Down 17, you got to score 3 times anyways. Extra point from the young left-footed Kevin Shank, up and good. Baldwin Wallace 31, Wilmington 21.
See some frustration from defensive guys coming off the field. Those touchdowns by Wilmington in the second half look like they've been more miscommunication than anything. But you got to credit Wilmington, and particularly Luke Credit, making the big play, particularly possibly of the game, to put them in that situation and get them down 10.
Sekou Amani received an earful when he came off the field from head coach Jim Hilbert. I hope it was encouraging, but I don't know. I don't want to speculate. Just when BW started to steal all the momentum, everybody starts kind of looking around at each other. And look, at the end of the day, there's still enough time in this game left for Wilmington to make a couple of plays here and make this interesting. But the Jackets have to refocus quickly and say, look, we're up by 10 points. We're on our home field. We're about to get the ball back with a chance to milk some clock. But man, there's a lot of heavy breathing and heads hanging right now on the brown and gold sideline. Kickoffs for Wilmington have actually been better today than I expected. Although this one is right in front of the sideline, and it's forced to be picked up by Nigel Henderson, who's got some room to go. Henderson across midfield before he's finally tackled from behind. Chased down by Maris Weathersby. And maybe that's the injection of life that BW needed.
It's funny because we saw almost that exact same return from Nigel Henderson last week on kind of a botch kick against Marietta, and he gets another big return. And subsequently after that, we see BW's offense really put it together, string series after series together, and start putting points on the board.
So Baldwin Wallace takes over, 1st and 10 from Wilmington's 38. And if Wilmington is trying to mount a comeback effort, they're not really helping their own cause here. Leverett goes wide to the right. Remember, Dion Greer scored on a 42-yard, check that, 48-yard touchdown pass last time BW had the football. Hudson decides to run. He's got a big hole as he goes head over heels down toward the 20.
As a coach,
coaching staff, you're probably holding your breath seeing your quarterback do that.
Boy, does that make you nervous.
Hudson's a tough kid. He pops right back up, but you're right. Yeah, it's slammed to the turf pretty good. This time Austin Smith waiting for the hole to open it, and it never did. Picked up a couple, but 2nd and 8 coming. Here comes Matt Lowry back in the game, who is listed as a quarterback on the roster. But we've seen him used in a couple different scenarios. He had a 34-yard run out of the Wildcat earlier. He's also lined up as a running back today and had a rushing touchdown. Lowry 2 carries for 41 yards on the day.
Anticipate him to be in motion.
Sure is. Looking wide open over the middle, and Julie Leverett with a circus catch for a score. To Leverett, and BW answers 37-21.
He sent Lowry in motion, and those linebackers really have their eyes pinned at him, especially if all the big plays he's been burning you on. And then it allows the speedy Leverett to get behind your defense, use his size, use his speed to go up and take it from the defender.
Vollmer's extra point is up and good. There are some extracurriculars on the field to draw a flag. I got to be honest with you. I think BW only had 10 guys on the field.
Yeah, I think we heard these coaches next to us screaming a little bit of miscommunication on special teams here.
Deflating for Wilmington. Can't block an extra point when you got a +1 advantage. That's tough. Waiting for the signal from the official here. Dead ball foul. Offsetting unsportsmanlike conduct penalties. So the Quakers down 38-21. Take the football back after this kickoff. Wilmington's moved the ball today for 316 yards. They've run one more play than BW. But the Jackets, 56 plays for 440. And many of those have come on big chunks through the air here in the second half. And of course they had a couple of really big plays. 72-yard screen pass to Austin Smith. A 34-yard run from Matt Lowry. What's impressed me, though, is Wilmington's ability to sustain drives. 7 of 13 on third down for the Wilmington Quakers this afternoon. Marshall's kickoff is out of bounds instead of a touchback by, less than a foot. That ball hit the white sideline paint right next to the pylon out of bounds. And it cost BW 15 yards.
We've seen him strategically throughout this day really target that part of the end zone. I don't know if they saw something in film that they really wanted to get the ball there, but that one just gets a little bit away from him there here late in the fourth.
So first down for the Quakers. Wilmington puts Deshaun Maddox in the slot on the right-hand side. He's a good receiver, but he's had a tough day with a couple of drops, including on one that was right off his shoulder pad. Wilmington chooses to have the ball on the right hash mark. Full receiver look for Luke Credit, who's had a nice afternoon. 21 of 31, 216, and 3 scores. Credit has to hurry. He finds Amir Jackson. No gain on the play. BW's defense sniffed it out quickly.
I don't think we've sang enough praises about this linebacking core of Sam Groff and Sean Nishwitz. They have been flying to the ball, making plays in their own respective rights on plays that are really tough for linebackers to do. It is tough to get over a screen as a linebacker and make that open field tackle on a skill player, but they have been doing it consistently today.
Second down and 9. Nice tackle. Gino Hinton tried to fight for an extra couple of yards, but Dean Phillips ripped him down. Third down and 3. 8:40 left to go in the game. Gino Hinton down to the 22. And a couple of Quakers were slow to get up, including one at the end of the play. And that's one of their wide receivers, Jay Hightower. Ball is placed at the 28-yard line after a big run by Gino Hinton, one of the biggest plays of the game for the Wilmington Quakers. While he's intended to, we'll step aside. It's Baldwin Wallace 38, Wilmington 21. BWYellowJackets.com.
Football fan 160 on today's game with the presentation of the Frank Robo BW Homecoming Player of the Award, as well as the Freezer and Daniel Awards. The presentation will occur right after the players finish shaking hands.
First and 10 for Wilmington from the 23-yard line. Credit hands the football off. Eric Flynn with a nice cut back. He's down inside the 15. We're at the 8-minute mark of the fourth quarter, along with Josh Rendero and Brendan Gulick. Glad to have you on board this afternoon for what has been a good second half for BW. Eric Flynn Jr. continues to get lots of touches as he spins down to about the 11-yard line. Under 8 minutes to go in the game. Josh, I know it's been kind of an emotional game, an up and down game, because BW kind of came out flat through most of that first half, but the offense kicked it into another gear here as Credit has some room up the middle. Luke Credit got bent around a little bit. Hopefully his knees are okay, because that looked kind of ugly from up top. Credit gets back to his feet pretty quickly. That's good news. Jake Hudson's numbers on the day reflect a nice afternoon. I mean, he's going for 250 yards and 4 touchdowns, but it was not a good. Credit guns it over the middle, off Amir Jackson, incomplete. Jake Hudson in the first half, 9 of 16 for 94 yards, which means in the second half he's 6 for 6. But he's thrown those 6 passes for 160 yards and 3 touchdowns.
He's got the benefit of having another quarterback on the field in the second half. Matt Lowry has come in and run the Wildcat for them and been a diversion on that last touchdown play and really helped out Jake, get some open looks for him, and Austin Smith as well.
Credit wanted to go left, then right, then he just throws it up. That's a silly mistake. And finally it cost him. Intercepted. BW takes it over. It is picked off by Trent Washington. I don't blame Credit for trying to make something happen, but that didn't really work out very well.
We've seen him try to make that play all day, and it's been successful for him. But right there, I mean, across your body, in the end zone, not really a smart play.
Baldwin Wallace on top by 17, and they take over again. First down and 10 from their own 5-yard line. Hudson in the pistol. Moves Baranowski tight to the left. And gives to Austin Smith. Smith still on his feet. Nice effort. Getting across the 10-yard line. Clock continues to wind. What has been far from a perfect afternoon, but one that BW will likely leave happy here. By the way, Luke Credit really doesn't throw many interceptions. It's only his 5th of the year in 5 games. And that one was sort of out of desperation. Austin Smith got a first down up to the 19-yard line. Baldwin Wallace is in great shape, but I think it's fair to say that Wilmington has maybe earned their respect after several bad years. They are definitely a program that's getting better. First down BW for the 20 as the steady breeze picks back up again. Milking as much time as they can. Once again, it's Smith. Unfortunately, when he spun out of one tackle, he spun right into Brian Gonzalez. No gain, second down. BW looks like they're just standing around, but truth be told, they're just trying to waste time. A 17-point lead, and now 5:05 on the clock. There's no reason to rush anything. Leverett Did not get the ball. Instead, it's thrown over the middle and caught by Ty Ramsier. Check that, Pat Orsini, the tight end. BW picks up the first down, and they may not need too many more. It's their 21st of the game. 10 through the air, 10 on the ground, and 1 by penalty. They've been effective moving the chains, especially here in the second half. How about this to further illustrate the point? BW has only faced third down twice since halftime.
And this is a great opportunity for, a day where they didn't really have offensively everything going together. They can put together multiple drives that have been successful for them going into next week.
Once again, Austin Smith on the carry. And seeing more touches than you might expect here in the second half because Tyquan McCray got hurt and was not able to return. He's on the sideline and he's taken off his shoulder pads. Hopefully he's okay. We'll just have to see what the outcome looks like for him. It appeared to be a right leg injury. Under 4 minutes to go, BW closing in on their third win of the season. Smith again, puts the head down, great blocking, a good hold. Crosses midfield. Now the clock stops for a moment. And our referee, Ken Davis, is going to pull David Henry and offensive lineman for BW, DeJuan Bridges, together and basically say, hey, enough's enough, fellas. Under 3:30, down and 1.
I'm not advocating mean spirits, but boy, do you like to see that out of your interior offensive lineman.
Sure. Like to see guys that are fired up and playing through the whistle. Hudson gives to Smith again. He's got enough for the first down. Needed 1, picked up 3, and that'll move the sticks and put the clock inside 3 minutes. So at this point, with the outcome of the game not really in question any longer, start to think about what is yet to come. Baldwin Wallace in the second half of the season. Got 3 road games and 2 home games. I think they're going to find themselves a little more competitive in the second half of the year. They're having a couple of tough games early on. Kind of gutting out a win here this afternoon. Hudson through the air. He overshoots Baranowski. BW wanted a flag, didn't get it. Remaining schedule for BW at Muskingum next weekend. We've got a night game at Otterbein 2 weeks from today. And they'll finish the year with 3 straight afternoon kickoffs. At home against Capital on October 28th. At home against the Heidelberg Student Princes on November 4th. And we'll close the year at Ohio Northern on November 11th. Last 2 games of the schedule, Heidelberg and Ohio Northern, could be really competitive games. I expect BW to play well the next couple of weeks at Muskingum, and Otterbein is sort of downward spiraling right now. Hudson throws it complete to Carbon. The best part about that play is that the clock continues to wind down. Third down upcoming, but the game clock now is just over 2 minutes remaining. John Carroll beat Marietta today by a final of 48-21. Mount Union obliterated Heidelberg 63-7. Anthony Meglin went 17 for 25 for John Carroll this afternoon. 257 yards, 3 touchdowns and a pick. Roe Golphin ran it 15 times for 103 yards. Darian Fields for Marietta, 3 touchdown passes. He threw for 218 through the air, but Roger Walker, their big feature back, 10 carries for 12 yards against John Carroll's really good rush defense. BW close to the first down marker with 90 seconds to go. Mount Union didn't score in the fourth quarter, but they scored 21 points in the first, second, and third quarters, and they beat Heidelberg 63-7. 341 passing yards and 4 touchdowns for D'Angelo Fulford. Jawanza Evans-Morris, 12 carries, 63 yards. Fulford, 11 touches, 62 yards. They ran the football however they wanted. Tyler Stoyle for Heidelberg, one of the top quarterbacks in the conference. Only 217 yards through the air today, 18 of 43. He threw a touchdown and 2 interceptions in Heidelberg's lopsided loss. It's technically fourth down. Austin Smith has the first down and more. Just padding the stats at the end of the game down inside the 20. That will probably be the last play of the game. Although the play clock is now running at 35 seconds, so BW will have to run one more play before they can call this one official. Nice day for Austin Smith. There's the final kneel. Austin Smith will finish the game 17 carries for 89 yards. He also had a 71-yard reception. And your final score this afternoon was not easy for BW, but they have a nice second half and they beat Wilmington 38-21. Hudson, 278 through the air and 4 touchdowns. That's 9 touchdown passes for him in the last 2 games combined. As a senior quarterback, it's nice to see him really giving it a rip. I know the offensive line allowed 5 first-half sacks, but I thought the second half was a part of that.
This isn't a game, if you're a BW fan, player, coach, that you anticipate going this way. But you're glad that your team was able to cut it out offensively and defensively, make the plays necessary to win. I think we need to give some testament, some credit to Coach Moore and this Wilmington program. Credit at quarterback. They played a great game themselves and really gave BW a good win.
Trying to take the cap to Coach Brian Moore. Has a pretty big task ahead of him to try and turn around Wilmington's program, and you can already see the strides and the growth that they've made. Brian Moore, as classy as they come, he came all the way across the field to go give a tap on the back to Taekwon McCray to make sure that he's okay as he walks out onto the field in crutches. McCray's a competitor, and Brian Moore is, truth be told, he's just a good guy. And he's passionate about football, but you appreciate the good sportsmanship that Wilmington showed this afternoon. So tip of the cap to the Quakers, who are definitely getting better, but it's about BW's success today in the second half. The Yellow Jackets with a nice win, 38-21. Wasn't exactly how they drew it up, but they got it done. 4 touchdowns, only 1 fumble. They were able to negate the turnover battle, and at the end of the day, the Jackets finished the day with a big offensive performance, 517 yards on 68 plays. That's an average of almost 7.5 yards per play. Any final thoughts as we wrap it up?
Great day of football. Glad of what I saw in the second half. You know, especially personally challenging this BW offensive unit. I agree. I think their offensive line played a lot better. They got playmakers involved, including quarterback Matt Lowry, came in kind of that flex wildcat role. And it's like we said last week, this is something for them to build upon. Now, will they go about and do that next week through 4 quarters of football?
Well, we're going to find out. They'll have to go on the road next week for the first time since they went to Mount Union 2 weeks ago. Baldwin Wallace goes to 3-2 on the year. They've won back-to-back games in conference after starting 0-2 in the OAC. So they're now at the 500 mark in conference play. Wilmington falls to 2-3. They're now 1-3 in conference. They will host Marietta next week. I think that's a game they're very much looking forward to. And truth be told, a game that I think they would be favored in. I think the Quakers are a better football team than the Pioneers.
And especially with this quarterback here, senior Luke Credit, they have some offensive firepower, defensively still trying to put it together, but they have something to go into next week. And they put up 21 points here against a very stout and very good, well-coached Hilbert defense.
Not only did they put up 21 points, they moved the ball for 375 yards on 65 plays, converting on 8 of 15 third downs. They had a couple of good punts. They really did a lot. Luke Credit, 217 yards through the air, 3 touchdowns. Eric Flynn, 16 carries for 70 yards. Gino Hinton, 5 carries for 49 yards. Amir Jackson, 8 catches, 91 yards and a touchdown. Eric Flynn, 6 catches, 59 yards and a touchdown. A.J. Hightower also caught a touchdown pass as well. Final score this afternoon, Baldwin Wallace 38, Wilmington 21. For Josh Rendiro, I'm Brendan Gulick. So long from George Finnie Stadium, where the Yellow Jackets win going away in style here in the second half by 17 points. We'll see you in a couple of weeks when the Yellow Jackets come back home. They host Capital 3 weeks from this afternoon. Have a great weekend, everybody.